Oh, what just happened? You're gone. How is that possible? Jesus Christ. Hold on a second. What happened?
Got tired.
Dude, what's going on? This camera's just off now?
It's still plugged into. It's kind of a precarious electrical junction over here.
Yeah, right?
Everything's in tight.
What the heck is going on? This camera won't turn on now.
Uh-oh. That's crazy.
Dude, it was on. What the heck? Technical difficulties
Doesn't like
here.
my face.
What the... Dude, what a pain in the butt. Let's go back to the intro song. We'll figure it out. Good job. Let's try this again. Oh, okay. We're back. We're here. Okay. Jesus Christmas. Okay. We're in. I don't know what happened. Everything was fine. We tested everything. We go live. The camera's off. But we're back, baby.
We're back.
All right, here we are. And we're literally back for a second time.
Yeah, this is V2 bringing on ReAnimate.
Awesome.
Last time it was... that didn't work. But then we bought the actual audio mixer. So now everything should work.
Yeah.
So
3 mics. Here we are.
Yeah.
Craig, Garrett,
Yep.
the G's.
The G's.
The
Couple of
G-men.
G's.
Cool. This is episode 80, not 70. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to...
It's our favorite decade.
80, man. It's perfect.
I was born in the 80s, yeah.
Oh, you were born in the 80s.
Yeah, we were skating in the 80s.
Yeah,
Like, skating
really,
hard
it's
in
the
the
late
80s.
80s
Oh, yeah.
that's more special. But yeah.
Cool. So today's episode, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to touch base with your organization at ReAnimate, which are helping with WrenchFest. We're going to talk about WrenchFest. And then I got a message for the haters.
Okay.
All right.
So I want to start with my message to the
Is that
haters.
like a monologue or something?
It's going to be a bit of monologue, yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Is it long? Is it more than 20 minutes?
No. No. So I posted this Facebook status, and it was kind of like tongue in cheek, and I said, actually I had it pulled up. I said, since we're now posting a lot more content online, it turns out people are very opinionated. Who would have thought, right? And it wasn't like I had someone specific in mind. I just was getting these comments on videos, like I did that one, you can't fit a mini ramp in your garage, and all these people are like, oh, don't listen to this guy. Oh, cool skate park owner trying to tell you not to build your own ramp. Of course you can build a ramp in your garage or I did one in my basement. It's like the point of the video is I wasn't telling you don't build a ramp. I'm just saying
this is what you're in.
You can
Think about a few things before you do it.
you can build a mini ramp anywhere.
Yeah.
How usable it's going to be.
Right. Will you have enough flats, or is it just going to be like a
Yeah, it's
U?
going to get rough, right? And that's it. I was kind of like, I'm going to throw this out here because the other thing is my Facebook engagements are really going up. And I was like, well, let me just post something rather than just like sharing stuff over from Instagram. And I got over 100 likes on that, and mostly positive comments. And then you get the haters.
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate
And
it.
this is a person who I already have they're not blocked, but you can restrict someone on Instagram.
Yeah.
So they comment, but they don't know that their comments are blocked out.
They come under your review
They might know now.
before you
I don't
release.
know.
No, I think they don't know at all. They just
Okay.
comment, and when they look, they see their comment there, but they don't know that no one else can see their
Oh, I
comment.
get you.
So I've already restricted this person,
Yeah.
but they got me on Facebook too. So this is what they said. Well, first of all, the post was, since now we're posting online, people are opinionated, right? And then people are commenting stuff. And I said, oh, just wait until I tell them
Yeah.
that skateboards cause more damage to ramps than bikes.
Oh,
And like that is true.
Okay.
I own a skate park.
Well,
Like each
Nice rubber wheels.
each discipline causes its own type of damage,
Sure.
right? But that's something in the skate park world. It's so like institutionalized that like bikes ruin skate parks, and
Okay.
it's not true. And I was like, yeah. So of course I post that. Someone took the bait, and it's this guy, and he said, wait. He goes, wait till someone tells you that you own what you labeled a skate park, and that the damage done by skateboards comes with the territory, and you probably should just advertise it as a bike park if you don't want to fix the ramps that skateboards damage.
Nice.
And I was like,
So logical.
well, this guy is making these assumptions, like the assumption that like I apparently labeled it a skate park, that like it's only a bike park, that I'm
Right.
saying I don't want to fix it.
Right.
Further, I didn't respond. Kevin Willard came to my defense because he's the man and was like, bro, what are you even talking about? You know? and the guy said that I posted the first status to set myself up to post the second comment just to attack the skateboarders.
Wow.
Like this person thinks I have this ingrained
That
position
devious, like
against
this-
skateboarders, right? And I was going to reply. I was like, oh, I'm not giving this guy a reply. So I started writing something, and I was like, you know what? I'll just do this in the podcast. I'll do a little like
There you
my
go.
little monologue rather than leaving a comment for this guy
Yeah.
and playing. Because no matter what I say to this person, he's going to come back
It's just
with
yeah.
something equally
Exactly.
as whatever, ignorant. So I'll give you my little my little spiel here.
let's hear it.
Because he said I was trying to like call out the skateboarders, right? Like I'm complaining about fixing the ramps. He also accused me of not ever fix. He said something along the lines of, I clearly don't care about skateboarders because there's an inch of dust on everything and holes in all the ramps. And it's like, well, it's an interesting comment considering like if you paid attention to my feed, I'm posting so many videos of me fixing ramps.
Yeah,
It's like,
sure.
Interesting argument,
Sure.
bud, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so I said it. This is my rebuttal. I don't call anyone out. I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm not complaining about anything. I'm simply stating the facts. And I'm trying to disseminate information to all my viewers and customers so they kind of an idea of what it's like and
Yeah.
what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I'm constantly fixing ramps. I have no bias towards any particular discipline of rider. I strive to offer a facility that offers something for everyone, from beginners to experts, regardless of what they ride. Skateboards account for more than 50% of our overall riding. Bikes only account for 20%. Inline skates are less than 1% or around 1%. But despite those numbers, I treat everyone with the same dignity and fairness. Just because there's only like 6 inliners doesn't mean I don't take it into account when they say we would like ledges to have coping because that grind's good for us. So each discipline has a section of the park that's kind of tailored to them, while everything else is kind of this trade-off between, what works for everyone.
Yeah.
The ledge has got to be just big enough for bikes to grind it. So like most stuff is going to be about 10.5 inches so a bike can grind it. I'm sure plenty of skaters, especially beginner skaters, would love your
Just a
curb
curb,
height.
really
It's-
small,
it's- it's useless, right?
Yeah.
But also for the people who accuse this of being like a bike park, there are multiple sections of this park that are really, really challenging, if not impossible, to ride on a bike. Like the mini that you guys love, that you're
Sure.
running your jam on.
Sure.
You cannot ride that on a bike. It's like not possible. And even the 3-foot mini is extraordinarily challenging to ride on a bike unless you can do multiple lip tricks because you can't air and air. It just doesn't
Gotcha.
work like that, right?
Yeah.
Furthermore, you guys all know this. I'm one person running the skate park. I'm doing it by myself, and the place was built with volunteers.
Yeah.
No skate park in Rochester has lasted as long as this skate park has. The materials that these ramps are comprised of mostly came from RASP, making the facility, or at least effectively the ramps in the facility, 15 years old.
Wow.
Almost every skate park that's been in Rochester has lasted 2 years, maybe 4 years. So that means no one has ever seen a skate park with the amount of deterioration you will see after a decade of people riding the ramps.
Yep.
Right? Furthermore, this building, it was a manufacturing facility that was built in 1918 for the World War I.
It's got some dust.
Yes. They were boring 75 millimeter cannon rifles in here.
Oh, wow.
Right? The last thing I knew in this place before it was a skate park, it was an industrial fire suppression
Sure.
company. So they're cutting giant iron pipes. So there's just so much of that dust. And who knows, the 100 years in the middle there, who knows what this was, right?
Right.
Then you stack onto it, it's about 15 years of sawdust. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do, right? Again, with all the repair work I'm doing and then the new projects I'm always building and the regular wear and tear, like there's only so much you could do.
Right.
Anyone who comes here is welcome to grab the leaf blower, the wireless vacuum, the wired vacuum, or like the dozen brooms around the skate park, and they're welcome to sweep before you ride, before you drop in. You can sweep it all out, right?
Yeah.
You'll learn pretty quickly if you do that by the end of the day, if not the end of the session, it almost looks like you never even touched it because there's just that much deterioration in the riding surface. It's just, is what it is. So again, I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you those are the facts of the matter. I work a lot and I work hard and I do it for everyone, and it's the greatest job on earth.
Yeah.
If you can afford to live on 15 grand a year.
Yeah.
Virtually no one is willing to work as much as I work for as little as I make.
Yeah.
And that's not me being like, oh, look how like righteous I am or anything. I said, I love my job. This is great. I would take this over doing 40 hours anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the haters, it's a little insight.
Fair enough. Yeah.
By all means.
You're up against it and
You're gonna
making the best you
be
can.
out here saying you're only fixing ramps to do videos. Sure.
Yeah, no.
Sure. and as I said to my buddy earlier today, for every video I'm doing, there's 3 things that I could have made a video of, but I just don't have time. I'm just doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And trying to post a video a day is just like my back's up against the wall at this point, and I'm trying to save the skate park. I'm trying to keep it open. Like, it's been 3 years of flat numbers, as I said 2 podcasts ago. Like, content creation is my last, like, all right, if I can generate some money here, I can pay the bills, and everyone benefits. It just comes at, me essentially working another part-time job.
Yeah, really.
But it's what it is. Again, I love my job. It is freaking awesome. I love everything about it. I love doing the podcast. I like making the videos. 1 video a day is a bit much, but it's what you got to do if you want to grind.
Yeah.
Shout out Nick Parlett, plumbing skater, for telling me this is what you got to do. So I'm doing it,
Sure.
So
That's awesome.
that's for the haters.
You're crushing it too, man.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
It's amazing. And definitely like it you're doing all the new content and everything, but it's all the stuff that you were already doing. We were seeing you do stuff, and now we get to see even more, which is really cool. It's like, I don't know how this got done or that got done. Like when something gets built,
Yeah.
and now you're showing video of it. It's like, okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a bit of
It's a boatload.
Yeah. I have some carpentry background, not as a professional, but my dad was always into it, and I grew up doing all that, and I built tons of stuff over the years and renos in the house and stuff like that. So I can really appreciate what it takes, to put stuff together and keep it healthy.
Well, I'm going to do a video soon about the I'll probably do one that's just going to be literally intentionally inflammatory to get those people upset about how skateboards cause more damage. But I could. Each discipline causes their own particular type of damage, but if you look around the park, everything that's skateboard height is so chewed up because the boards go flying and they will
right
chew like a 3-inch gouge into like any ramp. It's so, you wouldn't think that it would happen, but it's death by 1,000 cuts, really.
Yeah,
It's pretty incredible.
For a long time on the Mini, where the ledge is on the side, it
was blown out.
There was a place about this big, exactly, for some reason, every single skateboard would go exactly into that one slot. It's just like...
Before I rebuilt the Ville section, the front of the up across down ledges were blown out like that too.
Yeah.
And that's only like this wide and this high off the ground, and that's 3/4 ply. Like, you wouldn't think that a skateboard repetitively hitting it would do that, but it does.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think mine was the one that started that. Yeah. It went in at least 20 times.
Is it?
Dude, it's just... it's so funny. Everyone's so opinionated, as the Facebook post that started the whole thing is, and it's like, man...
Yeah.
I know you don't know more about this than me. And that's not me saying like I'm a freaking genius. It's like, I've done this for over a decade.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's done something that they've done for a decade, and they have countless insights that other people are just going to assume, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
So if someone just like came up to you and asked you a question about it, like, hey Dave, why is this? What would you be like ticked off at him, or what? You just be like, oh, this is why. Thanks for asking, right?
Oh, I love talking about my, as most business owners are. I would love to tell you all about it.
Sure.
Most people won't do that though. You know, they're just going to go on, online and yell about it. And
well, the thing is, that particular type of rider, and it's almost always a skateboarder. Okay. Not biased for skateboarders, but it's almost always a skateboarder.
Two skaters here.
These are the people. Okay, I did a whole podcast before I turned into this format podcast. When my were just more like me, just talking about stuff. I did a whole podcast about the ramps and the traction and the slipperiness, and different diameter wheels, et cetera, et cetera. The texture. What's the word I'm thinking of? Friction, grip.
Yeah.
The grippiness of the riding surface is very relative to humidity. If you came here in June, and no one comes here in June, but if you came here in June when the bay doors are always open, the humidity is high, it is nice in here. It is tacky, it is sticky.
Oh, yeah.
In the wintertime, that's not the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a month like January and February where it's below freezing for like 40 days straight, so you have no humidity. My furnace is just a zero humidity, hot air blown in here. So then it's dry as heck, which the moisture keeps the dust in the air. So when it's dry, more dust settles. And when there's no moisture on the riding surface in the masonite, it's even slipperier. Sure. Those particular skaters are only going to come here like once a winter, twice a winter, when they're really desperate. Yeah. And it's when it's the worst condition it could possibly be. And also, like, you guys come here a lot. You see, like, I'm fixing stuff. This is breaking. That's wearing out. So, like, in peak season is when the terrain is going to look the worst because the deterioration is at its highest peak.
Absolutely.
So you have all these compounding factors that lead to that situation.
We just got to learn our reverts during that time.
Yeah.
You just got to take advantage of it.
And now, if you may not have noticed this, but I actually sell some skate products here, right? And of the skate products, I sell wheels, and those wheels are almost entirely park wheels.
Yeah, sure.
The roller skate girls that come here, they're not all girls, but they're mostly girls. If you ever see them roll up, they are almost immediately changing their wheels because they know I got my hard wheels for the concrete park, I got my soft wheels for the wood.
Gotcha.
The skateboarders are like, oh, dude, spend $30.
I ride this.
Get another pair of wheels, right? Like. What are you riding? 101s.
101s, yeah.
How long have you had them? 4 years. Dude, those things are probably like 105s. They're probably so hard.
Yeah, right. And they're like half the size they were.
I got 90s. In the case, I have price point wheels that are soft. I got 93s, I got 97s, I got 95s. Yeah. It's like, $25 for a pair of mini logo wheels, $20 for bearings, and then you never got to worry about it again. You just swap your wheels when you get here. It takes 30 seconds.
True.
A lot of our guys swap out wheels.
Yeah. What the heck? Seems logical to me. But
all right.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's social media. I mean.
Yeah. That's great. I think this is good content. Who knows what's happening in the Instagram chat?
Yeah. I've got a slight little story. It's not like anyone said anything, but I've been trying to get our YouTube channel going in the last 2 months. Like, we had 2 videos on there for a couple of years, and then I was like, all right, we should probably start posting some stuff there. So I try to just put, the highlights that we make on Fridays when we're here, and then just fill it in with short tricks and things like that, just on the shorts mostly. And I had one that was performing pretty well, and it's simply me doing two frontside Smiths, and it's like one of my favorite tricks. And when I can actually hit it, I'm like really proud of that, you know. And it's getting a lot of likes and everything. But I see the percentage, you know, when you look at your analytics, the percentage is not 100% of the likes. I'm like, what? I hover over that, and there's like 31 downs. Like, I did the trick, like, great. Like, what causes somebody to say, you know, that's a down, you know, thumbs down to that? Like, what is that? Like, nobody commented negatively, but just even seeing the thumbs down, you're just like,
weird.
What?
I don't even know.
It was like 107 yay and 31 no. It's just like, stop.
Well, 107, I mean, you know, you're getting into percentages, you know, so the higher you go.
It's just crazy, though. You can't really look at that stuff. You just like, who knows? Yeah. They could have been feeding it to all the BMX and scooter guys or something. I don't know. And they're just
weird. Dude, are you familiar with the internet? Are you familiar with the internet?
Heard of it.
Al Gore invented it.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
There was an internet magazine, skateboard one called Jenkem. You ever familiar with that?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if it's still around because I'm not really deep in skateboard culture, but back in the
like
day.
Like a zine?
An online zine. They had this article. I mean, this is probably at this point 15 years ago.
Okay.
And it was something along the lines of, as a skateboarder, you think you're very inclusive, but it turns out you're really just like a dick, something along those lines. And it was like, think about it. Like, you think your sport's inclusive, you like everyone to be involved, blah, 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 right? He goes, but in reality is like, you ride a skateboard and you don't like other skateboarders that skateboard slightly different things than you skateboard. In fact, you probably don't like other skateboarders that skateboard the same stuff you like to skateboard because they're not in your crew. It's like,
gosh.
so you're really not that friendly and inclusive.
Oh my
That's like,
gosh.
dude, that's so funny.
Yeah. I remember
truth
some guy, some like youth leader I heard this was a while back when Hot Topic was a big store and everything. Yeah, it was a Hot Topic. And he said something like, yeah, you want to go shop at Hot Topic so you can be, you know, different like everybody else that's shopping at Hot Topic, you know? And like, it's like, yeah.
That's funny. All like the music scene is like that. It's like you think you're unique and special, but then you're just doing and wearing what everyone else that thinks they're unique and special. And it's like, so is there anything really?
Exactly. People at the end of the day have a inner, you know, inside need to belong to something. And even if it's a smaller group, they still need, you know, that camaraderie. Very few people can be a true unique. Then you're just like a hermit or a loner or something like that. And most people can't operate like that.
Which is so interesting because the people that rise above and end up being legend, they're the ones that when they were young, everyone's like, oh, that guy. Mm-hmm. You know, like, what's up with him? Mm. And they just kept doing their thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, they just kept doing it and doing it. Maybe they had their crew and their favorite things, but they just kept doing it, even if it was weird at the time. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like those are the guys that rose above, and they're the ones we're still talking about. You know.
Sure.
So it's so true. Like everything you said is absolutely true. And then to be truly an original, you just have to be yourself, even when it's awkward.
Yeah.
I've always had haters.
Yeah.
Always. Are you familiar with the Ash conformity experiments?
I don't think so, no.
Ash Milgram experiments? Yeah, there was basically these experiments where people thought they were a part of a study, but really they were the study. Mm. And everyone in the room answers a question wrong, and they see if you will answer correctly or go with the crowd. And like the terrifying thing is like the vast majority of people will just go with whatever the room says regardless.
Sure.
And I've always been that person. Like, I'll argue with an entire room if they're wrong, if they, especially if they can't. And most people can't really factually support most of their arguments.
Right.
It's like, no, that's just wrong.
Interesting.
Like,
yeah.
And as furthermore, being from New Jersey, people are just blunt in Jersey. People just everyone in Jersey, they just tell it how it is. It's a little bit more harsh.
Yeah.
And I've had some, I don't want to say enemies, but definitely had plenty of beef in the BMX industry growing up by calling the shots how I saw it, you know? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people in positions of power, you know, what they perceive power, you know? And I was always been like, dude, yeah, if we're at a BMX jam and you're the sponsored guy, like, yes, in the hierarchy, you're above me. Mm-hmm. But I'm running the shop I'm running the events. Like
Yeah.
I'm interacting with the kids on a more intimate level
Yeah.
than you are. And one day when you're done, when the ship has sailed, when you are no longer sponsored, I'm going to be here still. And I am here still.
Heck
And
yeah,
there are people who I beefed with that are no longer pro, don't post any content. They just eventually begrudgingly took a real job.
Yeah,
And the days
sure.
of a pro rider or whatever it was are over.
Yeah.
And I'm still here
Yeah.
working with the kids.
Right. Right. And that's, I mean, anytime you do something that has value and that makes a difference, especially in other people's lives, the haters will always show up. I mean, we can both probably
Yeah.
tell a lot of stories as well, just in any realm, not just skating or whatever you're doing. But when you're making a difference, oftentimes it makes other people, either there's a jealousy inside of them or they feel like, you know, like you used the term holier than thou earlier. People throw that at you just because you're trying to, you know, change your life or do something positive or whatever. And it makes them feel like you're judging them when you're not doing anything like that, but they feel self-conscious for whatever reason, you
It's
know,
the
and so
comparison thing that gets them.
yeah,
Like I have this thing with a lot of people, but I had to drive this home with my wife a little bit, where it's like, just because I'm saying we could do better or you could have done better is not me saying you did a bad job. And that's the same thing. People see you doing stuff, so they think, oh, look at this guy. And making me realize that I'm not doing anything. You know, it's like,
exactly.
can't just like take it for what it is. Like not everyone has to be like that. Like not everyone could be me or you
Sure,
guys. Like
sure.
you can't have 14 different Christian skate camps. I guess you could, but like,
and they're all going to have a different flavor
Yeah, I
and
guess,
emphasis and leadership style and all that, you know. So
Yeah, it's funny. Like when I was a kid, two of my favorite skaters were Lance Mountain and Mike Vallely. And both of those guys took so much flack, you know. And Lance, I mean, he was dealing with it when he was younger, you know, like just trying to rise above and everything. But now today, you look at like Mike Vallely's stuff, like the documentaries that he's done, and just the message that he carries to the kids today. And it's just like be yourself completely, 100%. And he cares more about the person that's in front of him than anything else. If you're in front of him, you're the whole world. You know, and that's
cool.
his message. He's like, just be real, and you know,
skated both of their decks.
Yeah, I had a Lance Mountain. Actually, I didn't skate either one.
No,
I didn't skate either one of
I
them.
had a Lance back in the day, but then this summer when I broke my deck, that was
Okay.
a newer Lance.
Yeah,
Ken Endy was here earlier, and I was talking to him about the comment I told you earlier, and he's like, dude, that's so crazy. He's like, I've been here skating all day, and I saw you teach 3 different skateboard lessons. He's like, these people, these skaters, you know, they're just so in their own, and they don't even realize it's like you just spent hours of your day with like a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 14-year-old, like making sure they're not pushing Mongo.
Yeah.
That, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
But tell me the truth. Were you whispering in their ears like BMX? You know,
No, I don't
this
care.
is just the gateway to BMX, right?
No, okay, kids. This is a whole other thing. Skateboarding is really hard.
Sure.
It is so hard.
I can agree with that.
If you've been involved for a long time, you forget how impossible it is in the beginning. I have a highly effective method I've developed over the last decade, and I can take almost anyone who's never touched a board and have them going down a ramp in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Almost every single one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I take this very mechanical approach, muscle memory. It's very sports based.
Yeah.
But kids really struggle with it now. They want that. They think they're gonna get the board and they're gonna be just dropping in and doing what they see in the videos. And
immediate gratification. Yeah.
once in a while, a kid like halfway through it, they're like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." So I'm not in their ear whispering "ride BMX," but what I often do tell them, especially for very young kids, I say, what you should do is get them a scooter and get them a skateboard, and come on the skateboard, give it your 15, 20 minutes, fight a little bit, make this much progress, then go back, switch out the scooter, cruise around, get it out of your system, have fun, and then when you're ready again, try the skateboard again. And what I've seen is most kids that do both, once they get proficient enough on the skateboard, they're done with the scooter.
Yeah.
The scooter and the skateboard also, it's easy to throw in your trunk. The bikes, I love bikes. Bikes is the easiest one to be a lifelong passion.
Okay.
It scales and digresses.
Okay.
But if you got your 14-year-old son and his 3 friends, you want to go to the skate park, you got 5 bikes, 4 bikes, 3 bikes. Like, not everyone can
you
just
need
do
a
that.
trailer.
Yeah, that's a logistics issue for them. So,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
No, I
Just
see that
gotta-
definitely with like Finn is one.
Yeah.
He's learning both at the same time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're seeing that big time. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to try to bring up Ken to transition to talk into Wrench Fest because his band's playing, and I
Oh, okay.
missed the segue. But like,
Hey,
so let's talk
force
about
it.
Wrench Fest
Just
real quick,
force it.
and, and then we'll get into
Yeah.
into ReAnimate stuff.
Sure.
We're not going to do our middle time politics, social talk. Although, man, America's back, baby.
Hey, your sign right there, kind of.
There it is.
I didn't make that sign because I was pro-Trump. In fact,
That's funny.
when I made that sign when we first opened and Trump first got in office, my personal Facebook, what's the thing on top? It's not a
The banner
wallpaper
or
banner.
something.
My banner was an
yeah.
anti-Trump thing. So like, I didn't make this because I liked it. I just
Yeah.
thought that was brilliant
playing off of
marketing.
it, yeah.
And I tried to buy MakeAmericaSkateAgain.com, and someone else owned it,
Oh my gosh.
but they didn't do anything with it.
yeah. They're
Whatever.
waiting to sell it, probably.
But yeah,
That's
Wrench
funny.
Fest is.
2 days
if
from
you're
now.
probably listening to this, if you're live now, Wrench Fest is Saturday. If you're listening to this tomorrow when it's out to the podcast world, Wrench Fest is going to be is Saturday, the
Yep.
8th. You might not even listen to this till after Wrench Fest is over.
There you
But I'm
go.
just going to run down the list of events.
Hope you didn't
try
miss
to
it.
remember all the sponsors and everything we're doing. If you're in the chat and you have a comment, feel free to ask. If you're on Instagram and you want to ask a comment, go to YouTube on the BFS YouTube and get in the chat. Wrench Fest, Saturday, March 8th. It's my birthday. I haven't
Oh,
really
cool.
advertised it this way.
I didn't know that.
But it is my birthday.
Awesome.
Okay?
Wow. And this is the first one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This
And
is
the background
birth
of this-
Wrench Fest.
I feel like I just brought you guys along. And I'm just talking about me the whole time. We'll get to you.
No,
you're fine, man.
We're,
That's
we're
cool.
here for the ride.
Yeah.
This will kind of dovetail with the
Okay.
because you guys are
Okay.
Christians or something.
Okay.
Or something.
Something like that.
I was one of those people. I'm like, holidays are dumb, birthdays are dumb. I don't need it, and part of that
Yeah.
was probably me rejecting everything because my family life was terrible and everything sucked and whatever.
Yeah.
Not narcissist. That's the word. Nihilism. It was
Okay,
nihilism.
sure.
And I was like, I don't care about my birthday. Who cares? Whatever, right? Then we got, my wife and I got pregnant. Well, she was mostly pregnant. I was along for the ride. I was like, we need to outline what we're doing here, right? Like many people around my age, our families kind of like completely abdicated tradition, right? It was like that like hippie era, post hippie era. All my parents, are dumb and we don't need it, and the
Right.
dissolution of the,
Sure.
the nuclear family and whatnot. And I was like, I want to have a strong family. I want to have a strong community, like I'm building with the skate park. I was like, so we need to outline exactly what we believe. What's our family ethic, and what holidays we're going to celebrate and why and how. So when my daughter asks me why we're doing this, I can
Yeah.
answer it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to my kid
Know
for
what
the
you
sake.
believe
I'm not doing Easter Bunny or Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus. I'm not going to lie to my kid. I have friends who they woke up through the COVID stuff and thought this was crazy and everyone just believes everything and they just follow blindly. And I'm like, but we're trained to just follow blindly and not ask questions. And then one day you're like, well, actually Santa's not real. That was just a fun bit.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, that's life,
Sure.
I guess.
Another fun
I'm not
bit.
messing with that, right? So we don't celebrate Christmas. I'm not religious. Well, I think everyone's religious, but I'm not Christian. I don't, personally, I don't believe in Jesus Christ as my savior. So I don't think I should celebrate the holiday that's the birth of Christ. And then people say, oh, well, Christmas is more cultural and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think if people practice religion, because you practice, it's work, right? And then you get the fruits of that labor because you believe in the thing, and then you celebrate the thing and whatnot, right? So, like, why should people that don't go to church and don't pray and don't believe in it get this hedonistic thing? Because then that's all it is. It's just hedonism. And so we're not celebrating Christmas. We did kind of morph our Thanksgiving into more Christmas-ish, with more thankfulness and minimal gift giving, whatever.
Okay.
And in that framework, we came around to like, well, birthdays kind of matter here, right? And like, so we have a framework for that. And I was like, oh, there's a moment where two of my thought patterns intersected, and I was like, well, based on this framework we're developing, I should actually care about my birthday now because it's celebrating something that's actually meaningful. So I was like, I guess now I care about my birthday.
Your daughter.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and you absolutely believe that you were born on that day.
I do, yes. I am the Lord and Savior.
Because there's many schools of thought. But it's good.
No, you can't remember it.
Yeah.
But you believe it.
But I appreciate that because you're holding on to something, or you're looking at and celebrating the things that are real.
Yeah.
You know that they're real.
But I told my wife, if you want to do Christmas with our kid, then we're gonna go to church. Then I don't know when I'm gonna find time for that, but like we're gonna do the thing if you want to do it. And if my daughter gets older and when she's whatever coherent enough to ask those questions at 7, 8, I'm like, all right, we can explore that. We can do that. We can start doing that. And if you think it fits, then I'm not adverse to doing it. Like, because I understand there's a benefit to it, and like.
Well, you got an open invitation from me.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I do pastor a church, so
Nice.
Well,
always open.
Yeah, I appreciate, like, we talk a lot about like marketing and everything, and within marketing you have to stay congruent across all of your platforms, right? Your voice has to be congruent, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, the same voice all the way through. And that's the one thing that I appreciate about you. When the first day I met you, you were like, dude, this is what I'm about. I don't know you, I don't know what you're about, but this is me. And you have not. You're not this duplicitous entity. You're the same today as you were back then in all those things that were just, here it is. So I appreciate that.
I have a bit of a wall. I stay a little bit back, but like, this is me. Like, you could ask my wife. It's not very different at home. The YouTube like real video guy, yeah. You do a little more of that.
Yeah.
But like the things I care about, the stuff I talk about. This is
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, from our last time on here, I felt like we got to know you a lot better because we really just chewed the fat for like an hour or whatever it was, talked about a lot of things. And I see you're very, very intellectual. You think deep and you've studied a lot.
My favorite thing to do.
Yeah. And I find, even in the Christian world, many of us Christians really don't know why we believe what we believe. A lot of people just been kind of raised in it, and or you just take the word of the guy standing up front, which is me.
I probably asked you guys like philosophical questions about your faith because I love asking people that, like, because it could be so many things. I love asking kids that go to church.
Sure.
Like, what is God to you?
Sure.
And who knows what an 8-year-old's going to say? Like,
you should film that.
It's everything.
Yeah. But, that's, try to encourage people, like, really dig in. If this is what you say you're about and this is what you're trying to represent, you should really know everything about it and dig deep into it.
Yeah.
Like as skateboarders, and you and BMX or whatever, you know everything about it. You know your device, you know how it works, you know the pros, you know the stories, you know the channels, when you get into something, you go deep, and that's how much more so it should be with our lives and the things that we believe in our life, our philosophy, for living, and how now that you're raising a family, that makes you think of things even more because you're affecting another generation, very personally, So I get it.
And I'll try my best here to take someone serious wearing a Yankees hat, right?
Because you said jersey, right?
Yeah. Mets fan.
It's like the number one hat on earth. It's the number one ball cap. Whether or not people like the team or not, I hear it's like the number one ball cap.
I said earlier, I think everyone's religious. Everything adopts a religious framework, in my opinion.
Sure.
I grew up in a baseball family, and and this is a belief that my dad had, and I shared it. And when Major League Baseball went universal DH, I was out.
Okay.
Out. I haven't watched a full game since.
Wow. Yeah.
I kept up with the Mets a little bit last year because they're good, but like.
Yeah. I played baseball as a kid, and actually when I skate, I usually skate in an Oakland A's hat. I still call them Oakland.
They moved.
Yeah, because as a kid, my brother, I was in Little League. He was in like the next age league.
Babe Ruth?
I think they called it Anjo. I don't know what that stood for back then.
Okay.
ANJO or something like that. But He was on the A's, and eventually when I was skating, he was no longer wearing his hat, and somehow I adopted that as my skate hat, the classic green with the yellow bill.
Oh yeah, there's been skaters or bikers that whether it be the Braves hat or the A's hat.
Yeah,
There's been certain hats that become a thing.
When I was a senior, Oakland was huge because they had like the big home run guys around the team.
Canseco,
and Henderson was on the team.
Yeah,
and those guys were just
he died recently.
destroying. Oh, I didn't follow that.
Yeah.
I'm not really deep into baseball anymore.
Yeah.
I was when I was a kid too, but not anymore.
more so when I was younger. But
all right, so Wrenchfest.
Wrenchfest, hey!
Let's get right
There's this thing on Saturday that we're doing.
So Wrenchfest is my birthday, and just like everything I do in life, I'm like, if I want something sick to happen, I'm just gonna make it happen.
Yeah,
I don't have my own.
You're a driver.
So for my birthday, I'm gonna give everyone a good time, I guess.
Are you gonna have a Dave tree with lights on it?
No.
It's just an idea. I don't know.
I will tell you the few things I'm most pumped for Wrenchfest.
Yeah.
But so the morning, I should have pulled up the flyers. I could easily do that now, but whatever. So the morning at Wrenchfest is very kid focused. Grok, which is the Genesee Regional Off-Road Cyclist, the mountain bike group, they're going to be handling the free pancakes. So free pancakes up on the loft.
Nice.
Foxes, the bagel shop, they're going to have free bagels as well. Menden Farms, Menden Maple Syrup. I don't remember the name. They're like the maple syrup sponsor for it, so they're going to be there. It's free pancakes with real maple syrup.
Yeah.
You know,
this is where we're like stepping into maple syrup season right now. I think in March.
Moto Option, which is a local clothing company, they're in like the motocross world. They're sponsoring the balance bike obstacle course race thing. So super little kids. They went well beyond anything I even asked for. I was just like, yeah, give me a banner and like whatever. They printed a ton of stickers, like Wrenchfest stickers.
Yeah.
They apparently a bunch of hats they made for me to give away. There might even be shirts. I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like a whole bunch of stuff there. They're actually ultimately going to work a sponsorship with us where we're going to paint one of the box jumps and we'll have a party for that. But that'll be months later. Anyway. Stella Skates and Paige are going to do a girls skate clinic.
Learned that today. That's good.
So
she's
cool.
part of our group, so
Very
we're proud of her for that.
That's all in that like 10 to 12. So each of those groups are kind of running their own thing. My friend Amy, she's like my mom. She's going to kind of run the kids' balance bike thing. Yeah. She's talked about doing a Le Mans start where the kids have to run over to their balance bikes and then get on them and go. We'll see how that goes.
That's awesome.
The 12 to 4 area, we're going to have some vendors. I'm probably not going to remember all the vendors, but Erin, she's a roller skater. She does some art, so she'll have her art.
Okay.
There's a scooter kid who does fingerboard obstacles, so he'll do that.
Oh, wow.
Tony Blair, I don't remember the name of his company, but he 3D prints toys and stuff, cool stuff. He'll be here.
Like Tony Blair.
Not the Prime Minister.
Not the Tony Blair, yeah.
No.
Is like that what he's doing now?
That's his gig now, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. Full Metal is a scooter group where they're doing the scooter jam, so they have some clothing. Okay. Rock Nugs is another local scooter kid. They'll have some clothing here. Amy, who's doing the balance bike thing, her and her daughter do freeze-dried candy, so they'll have a table of stuff there as well. There's at least one more.
That's awesome.
But whatever, I forgot you. I'm sorry. The Endy Brothers are playing from 1 to 2:30. I built that little stage over there.
I saw that.
Very
There's a
cool.
guitar sitting on it already.
Yeah.
That guitar's always here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're an acoustic duo. They do vocal harmonies and Kenny does smooth solos. They're really good. I asked them to do it before I even knew they were that good. I just figured I know they skated and I knew they played music.
Okay.
It's a good fit. And then I looked up their stuff and I was like, oh my God, these guys are incredible. They're very, very gifted. They're very talented.
That'll be awesome.
The Surf Rock Band is going to be up on the loft. They're playing 2:34. So basically, as soon as they're done, we can almost have them ready to go up there, so there won't be too much overlap.
Yeah. So they're the backdrop of our contest, or what?
Probably.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
It would be in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
Your rundown here.
I think it would be in the middle because you're at 2, right? Or 3?
2.
You're
right?
at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would be right
Okay.
at the
So we'll
transition.
get a taste of each.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Good.
Yeah.
We can shift if we had to. Probably. But.
Duke Galaxy is the guitarist frontman of the Rhino Chasers, the surf rock band. He is a skater. He hasn't skated much. I think he got hurt and kind of digressed, but he used to buy a year pass from me, and he'd be here all the time. He just skated the bull. Big old school fishboard, big wheels. That was just his thing. Really cool guy.
Nice.
So his band's playing. Bike Jump Jam at 1, sponsored by the 585 Freerider Group. Scooter Spine Mini Jam at 2. That's by Full Metal, the scooter group. That's a vendor also. ReAnimate is doing the Mini Jam
Yep.
at 3. Right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you're at 3.
Maybe we're at 3.
If
Are
you
you
say
two?
so, that's
Yeah.
what we are then.
Did you put it out as 2?
I think we did.
Whatever, we could swap it.
But
Who
it,
cares?
it works.
Doesn't matter.
It works. 3 o'clock works.
They'll be there.
Okay,
They're
whatever.
going to
Everyone's
want
gonna be
to
there
want to
for-
warm up anyways. They'll
Yeah,
start
yeah.
the warm up at
Yeah.
2. You
Okay.
know. Whatever. We'll flex.
Bike Rail Jam at 4. That's our buddy, this kid Ed, who's on our team. He's
Wait,
just,
what's a rail jam?
so basically, it'll be best trick on the A-frame rail. Have you seen that long rail over there?
Yeah, the
That's
new one.
Ed's rail. He got one more section of it. It's even longer, than
Oh
6
my
feet
gosh.
longer. So it'll be like best trick on the A-frame, best trick on the pink, and then best trick on the long one. I think he's going to, that rail's adjustable. I think he's going to bring the rail down to the lower and be like, so you could tire ride the whole thing. We have a bunch of sponsors. You got Kink to sponsor that. There's a bunch of, okay.
Can you deflate your tires, kind of like a Tom Brady move? For,
Oh, deflate gate. I don't know if that would really help, though. It might.
I don't know.
Well, then Ben Leader, the scooter kid, is going to host a scooter best trick on the Resi. And kind of what we've done here is all of the local guys who are really good at one particular thing are hosting those events. So it's not like, Ben Tripp, the biker, is just going to win the box jump jam. Who's the best one? No,
yeah,
he's the
yeah.
one running it and judging it.
sure.
That's awesome.
Like, which is, baked into the
Perfect.
cake. And I think Ed got Dan Collar, who used to ride for Kink, to come judge the rail contest too, which would be really cool.
Nice.
But like I said, each of these events, I kind of give it to each group to kind of like, hey, you take the ball and run with it, right?
Yeah.
There's a raffle. All day there's a raffle. The raffle drawing will be at 5:30 after like the last event's done. There are all sorts of raffle gear.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is everyone that walks in the door, you're going to get 5 free tickets when you get in. Then you could buy more. Across the counters will be all the raffle stuff. I have a balance bike from Kink. I'm going to raffle a scooter. I'll have a breaking free deck. I'll have a breaking free scooter, shirt and hoodie combo. I think I have one more Make America Skate Again sign and shirt combo. Crudco gave me a deck and a couple things.
Nice.
Carnegie Wine Cellars, which is a fine restaurant, they gave me a gift card. The inliner, Matt, that comes here, he owns, don't remember the name, something, it's Parkway Liquor, maybe, in Greece? I don't remember. He owns a liquor store, a wine and liquor store in Greece. He gave me 2 $40 gift cards. Obviously, that's a 21 and older raffle. Iron Smoke Whiskey is giving Iron Smoke Distillery is giving me. I said it's like a Bouncing Souls collab whiskey they did, so
Okay.
that'll be raffle for there.
They're kind of a newer punk band.
No, it's an old
20
punk band.
20 years?
Maybe new for you.
Yeah, new for me.
Yeah, old for me.
I just heard them the first time, like
Oh, really?
last year.
Okay.
My nephew showed me a song by them. I was like, oh, okay. Didn't know that
Wow.
was happening.
Do you have room for more raffle?
Oh, there's
prizes?
always room for more raffles.
Yeah, we get you hooked up with something.
Yeah.
Cool.
A couple of things.
We
I'm
got
sure.
some decks we
Yeah.
could
Sweet.
throw your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it'll all be laid out on the counter. You just drop your tickets where you want it.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
I have tons of raffle tickets. I've never bought raffle tickets, but there's like 4 giant rolls of them here.
It's
so.
like the ones that, the games spit out. When
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, you put one in, you keep the other one.
So I got an
Read the
idea
number.
with that. What if you could install something like on the mini, like every time you land a really good trick, it spits out like 4 tickets or something?
You get some like cheap Chinese toy that you don't really want, but you're like, I got the big stuffed animal, dude.
The deck is like 4 million tickets.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sick. All right, so after the raffle, I have 2 DJs. One is Zippy, who's been on the podcast, DJ Zip Drive. The other one is Troy. He's DJ Coping Wax, which is a sick double entendre because apparently, I didn't know this, people used to call vinyls wax.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like coping wax is like, the music you listen to cope with your
You want
problems.
to know something
you know?
crazy about that? Can I
Yeah.
take a tangent for a second? So I worked with this Russian guy. He's at least 15 years older than me, but this was like in the 90s. He had just come over when Iron Curtain had fallen and stuff. And he said back in the day, because so much music was like illegal, you couldn't get a hold of it, you couldn't buy records. Somehow they could, if you could get the original record, like we would copy cassette tapes, they would press some kind of wax on the record, and that would become a playable thing. And you could like duplicate over and over, from one original vinyl, some crazy thing like that, and it would play when you threw it on the record player.
That's cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you were saying Wrenchfest?
Yeah. Troy, he DJs, and he was briefly on the show. The first live episode when we rebooted on the BFS 8-year party, we had random people coming in and out. He was on there briefly.
Cool.
So they both will do an hour set. So like basically from like 6 to 8 is going to be just riding, chilling, music playing, whatever. And then at 8, Stevie, who was here earlier, he does like
He's rap.
auto-tune hip-hop kind of thing. So he's going to do a set.
Very cool.
Okay, nice.
After he's done, it's like the VIP after party. So we'll basically kick out everyone that's not like a Patreon supporter, a friend, a family, like someone who's not really like part of the crew. And then, I don't know if I should tell this to everyone because this is like behind closed doors things. We do karaoke.
Oh, gosh.
Which is a BFS tradition that goes all the way back to the beginning.
Is that right?
We've
Come
done
on.
lots of karaoke. We basically take the DJ equipment.
Yeah.
We just bring this laptop upstairs,
Yeah.
HDMI to that TV,
Yeah.
cable, quarter-inch jack or what, eighth-inch jack into the mixer, and you could YouTube anything for karaoke.
Sure.
It's awesome.
And it just closed captions
Tell you what, it's
below
fun
it.
if you're on a long drive by yourself and you're bored.
Yeah.
You can just put the screen right over your like speedometer with the karaoke. You can just like do karaoke in your car by yourself.
Brian Adams' Summer of '69. It's coming.
Oh, nice.
It's coming hard.
I heard that song 3 times this week.
What? And now he brings it up?
Yep.
I was like,
Confirmation.
That's crazy.
I heard it at Harbor Freight. I heard it in Wegmans. I don't remember the third place, and then you just brought it up.
That's hilarious. I love
Maybe
that
at
album.
BJ's. Maybe I heard it. Crazy. It's so weird.
Good Canadian music.
I was forced to sing that song one time for karaoke, and it's got a key change. Yeah,
Oh,
it did
sure,
not go well. It did not.
Did you rasp it up?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was bad.
I do a pretty sick Ozzy.
Dude,
I bet you do.
I do. I always
you
do
do.
Fairies Wear Boots. You know that one? Classic.
probably if I heard it, yeah.
There's some songs that are really, really hard to karaoke. You get hurt yourself trying to do some Pantera or Van Halen. They're just making sounds and notes that are just
Yeah, sure.
What is that?
yeah.
The range is off for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's all day skate park party, Wrench
Awesome.
Fest. I've never done an event like this.
It's awesome.
Although it's interesting because it's so many little modular mini events.
Yeah.
It's still like if you just want to come in and ride, like there's going to be people in the shop and there might be scooters going crazy in the half pipe, but the rest of the park's
Yeah,
open.
it's
So
open, right.
because I always try to do these micro events because if you guys know if I do an event, if I get 12 people to come out, that's a good event, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you might lose 12 customers. I don't want to go there. There's a scooter contest today.
Oh,
so you
sure.
might lose more than you gain doing
Yeah.
events. So
You
that's
gotta
why
stay open.
I always do
Yeah.
like little micro
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
This is the first large scale event. I
Is
don't
it-
know if this is going to end up being
Is
financial.
it like, didn't I read $20 for the day?
Yep, so it's $20 for riders all
Yeah.
day. Free for kids 10 and under, free for spectators. If people
Yeah.
want to come in and just check out the bands, check out the vendors, there's absolutely no charge for that
Cool.
whatsoever.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Really good. So it seems obvious to me, but why'd you choose the name Wrenchfest? I mean, I know you
Okay.
you tinker and do everything, but
Gnar Wrench is my Instagram name,
oh, okay.
which goes back to Rasp. As one of the ideas to try to help Rasp make money, they offered bike repairs, and the owner just made this like cheesy flyer and called me Gnar Wrench, like gear wrench. And I thought it was stupid and cringy, and I hated it. And then later it just
Then it
it
goes on
stuck,
you.
and
Yeah,
that's my Instagram name.
gotcha.
But I used to have another podcast called Wrench Life, and that was about like mental and physical health, and it talked about all different sorts of stuff. It talked about books, talked about nutrition, macro, micro, just Freudian psychology, all kinds of stuff. And I literally just took the Wrench Life logo and just changed it to Wrench Fest.
Okay. Yeah.
So it took me like 3 minutes to have
Life
the logo.
Fest. It's two of the same letters. The fest and the
Yeah.
life, you know.
So, and it's like my all day party. So it's Wrench Fest.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. And you foresee this being an annual event?
We'll see. Again, I've never
Yeah.
done anything at this scale.
Yeah.
It could be very. It could be lucrative. I know. I hope to make a decent amount of money.
Yeah,
I hope to have a
I
lot.
hope so.
I forgot Element. Element sponsored the event. They sent me
Whoa.
200 sample
Element.
packs.
Wow.
That's great.
What's in a sample pack?
Every flavor they have.
Okay.
There's 8 flavors, I think.
Okay.
So, and I've been with Element from the beginning. The one of the founders of the company, Rob Wolf, I followed his work for a long time because he was in like the food health space, the regenerative agricultural space, in that kind of like tangential to carnivore.
Okay.
He wrote this book called Sacred Cow, which is a phenomenal book to read.
I know about that. My daughter and her fiance are very into this sort of thing. They're trying to move into that, whole farming thing and everything. And so he's told me about different documentaries, and he mentioned
I think they did a
this.
documentary about it.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
The whole idea of Sacred Cow is that the beef industry has been really vilified, and all the criticisms of it, there's some truth and some of it, maybe not all of it, but those criticisms are far more pernicious in chicken and pork. All cows spend most of their life at pasture. They go to a CAFO, a concentrated animal feeding operation, for the last couple months of their life to get fattened up before slaughter.
Okay.
To where many chickens
Live in a
and
box.
most pigs don't ever go outside. Like when pigs are born in these operations, they cut their tails off because the ones in front of them will eat their tail. Like but people think like chicken's like the good one. Like chicken's like the worst one. But this book is about why the cattle is good, and then how with regenerative agriculture and sustainable grazing, we can actually, what's the word? De-desert? Undesert? I don't know. You can turn desert into grassland by sustainable grazing. They actually propose that we should use something more native, like a bison, because bison will graze up on a slope, so they can actually bring the vegetation up the hill to where cows will stay mostly flat. And you can graze a lot of animals where you cannot grow anything, and obviously one cow can feed a lot of people. So
Sure.
So Rob Wolf, that's in the world he's
Okay.
in. I listen to his podcast.
Interesting.
I've known of Element, their product, for a long time. I was a really early
Can
user.
I confess something? When
Yeah.
you first said Element,
Yeah.
I thought you meant another company.
skateboard one?
Called Element.
No.
I'm like, what is in a sample pack from Element? Like wheels
That's when
or
everything changed for us,
stickers?
man.
Or,
Yeah, we were on the same
sorry,
page.
but
Yeah,
this
okay.
is very interesting.
Yeah, Element, it's LMNT. It's
Yeah.
a hydration product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Now that you say
Our
that,
brains
I
went
have
straight
seen
to
that.
Element
I've seen that
skateboards.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense why you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just emailed them and was just like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And, I've been selling your product. And they randomly I get a box of free Element. I give it to my Patreon supporters.
Okay. That's cool.
They just like randomly stuff those up. I'm like, I didn't order this. I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So I emailed them, said I'm doing
Love
this
it.
big event. They said, how many people are coming? To get back to your question.
Yeah.
And the idea of like, is this going to be worth my time? I said, that's a great question. How many people are going to be there? And I started thinking, well, geez, if 10 people came for each single thing, really quickly, you're at like 300 people, right?
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know.
What's the fire marshal have to say about this place?
Oh, this place is huge. You don't got to worry about that.
Okay.
So I told them, if this was pre-COVID, I would confidently tell you this is a 300-person day. Post-COVID, it's really hard to know. So I said, it could be as low as 100. So like, how about we send you 200 sample packs? I was like, what? So I could literally, every person that comes in the door, here's a
Yeah,
sample pack
yeah.
of this hydration product,
That's awesome.
which is crazy. Just like literally that box right there,
Sure.
there's 2 of those boxes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Come and get your sample pack.
So, yeah, if it's successful, we'll do it again next year.
Yeah,
If it
that's
works
right.
out well, I might do another one in late summer or something. Maybe
Sure.
if the music thing works, I might try to lean into, maybe I do an event in the summer where we just have a bunch of bands all day. I don't know. Well,
Maybe Screwdriver Fest or something.
Yeah.
Something tells me my instrumental chill piano probably wouldn't fit in this environment.
well, you can make it work.
Everyone
like later in the
anything work.
evening.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that-
there you go.
If everyone skated in slow mo.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Well, you could just ramp up from slow to heavy. It's so yeah.
Add the drama.
I'm
Yeah.
also probably going to make cappuccinos.
See, now that's starting to fit the piano.
Yeah, right.
I got really into coffee and cappuccinos, and I have this cappuccino machine.
Right
and
there with you.
I was
is it
thinking,
a
like,
Gaja or what
it
kind of
is
machine
a DeLonghi.
Okay.
I got one of the cheaper ones because it had all the internals of the one that's like 3 times as much money.
Okay,
And
sure.
I got a bottomless portafilter for it. So I got the hand grinder, weighing it all out. I
Nice,
got to do it.
yeah,
I love it.
nice.
It's awesome.
Beautiful.
So I think I might bring the whole thing, operation here,
Yeah,
and sell some of my
that's a
my
great idea.
cappuccinos.
I'll partake.
One of these days, we're going to have to share our amazing idea with Dave. It's going to revolutionize. it's the pizza garbage plate here at Breaking Free.
Pizza
But
garbage plate.
the pizza
The
garbage-
ReAnimate
the
pizza
ReAnimate
plate.
pizza plate. Yeah.
Okay.
Not sure what
But,
that's going to look like.
I have no idea.
exactly,
We
but
haven't exactly invented it yet, but
burgers on top of pizza,
something. It's going to work.
mac salad or something. We'll see.
All right.
Still in R&D.
Dave's like, okay, let's move on.
Not every idea is a winner.
All right, so we talked about the haters. We talked about Wrenchfest.
Yeah.
So now we're going to bring it around.
All right.
We got you guys back on. We tried to have you on to talk about your organization. The microphones didn't work. It was a complete disaster. I literally that night bought this audio mixer
Wow.
in bed before I went to sleep. I was
Wow.
like, screw that. I'm done.
Never again.
Yeah. And things have been much
Yeah.
better ever
Oh,
since.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And every show has been better. The new lights, the on-air sign, holy switch
Yeah.
cameras,
Love
the
it.
on-air sign. I'm over here switching cameras while we're talking and everything.
Beautiful. You're your own producer.
Yeah. No GoPro third angle today, though. Eventually, I'll replace that camera with another one of these, so they're both high resolution.
quality, yeah.
But it's getting by
Nice.
for now.
Nice.
So, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good to be
Thank you.
here.
That was a good intro.
Yeah.
You guys run ReAnimate, which is some sort of Christian skate club. You do
Something like that.
Yeah, you do various meetups all year long. You're here on Friday nights. You provide pizza. You guys have a word with your helpers. You seem to be not specific to skateboarding because you have Mark comes and other people.
It's pretty much open.
Yeah.
It's more action sports mindset, but
Yeah,
we just
bikers
since we're
and skaters.
skaters and all started with skaters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my streak. Hold on. This is funny. I play this. I use this app with my wife called Paired. And every day you get one question and you both answer it and you can't see their answer until you answer.
Like trivia.
It's not true. No, it's like they're like sometimes they're really dumb, but it's like what's the one thing that you don't say enough to each other,
There.
or what
Okay.
would they do? They're all like it's supposed to be relationship building.
Oh, okay.
And then and it just told me like I'm about to lose my streak.
Oh,
'cause
no.
it's- But I mean, we could still finish before midnight.
Because you're talking to ReAnimate.
Yeah.
It's honestly-
something about this combo
With you guys, it's just we're always these tangents.
We chill.
Paired is a great app if you want to build a better relationship with your partner.
Okay.
Like it's one question a day. Sometimes they're like stupid. A lot of it ends up being about money. And my wife don't have any. Ironically enough, we have no issues with money because I'm
That's
super
rare.
super
That's
good with
usually
money. We also
issue number one.
We haven't integrated. I spend my money, she spends her money. We kind of don't do it together. But so all those questions are like, whatever,
Yeah.
But a lot of it's really important. Sometimes stuff about intimacy, and sometimes it's like it's good. Like sometimes once in a while there's a banger, and I'll get home and we'll talk for like an hour about something. It's really good.
Sure. That's
So,
awesome.
It's called Paired. Not a sponsor,
Oh, not yet.
but I'm gonna lose my streak. Oops.
But it could be a sponsor. You
Yeah,
never know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you tag them.
Podcast is sponsored by a relationship app. Dude, my skateboard never texts me back. So ReAnimate.
Yeah.
What is it? I just told you what it looks like to me from the outside
Yeah.
looking in.
Yeah.
What is it?
You can start.
I'll start. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll just correct you.
some of the history. This might be an echo of some of the things we said last time, but it's still because it's the same history. But so Greg and I skated, as youth back in the '80s and into the '90s, and life happened, and families, and jobs, and all that, and kind of pulled away from it. But for whatever reason, we met each other like 10 or 12. I don't know how many years
It's
ago.
been like going on 14 years now, man.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, at some point we started
Not that I'm
seeing
keeping
all these.
track or anything, but
We had all these similarities, and at some point we realized we both used to skate. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool! Wow, it's crazy how many similarities." And then as we approached the COVID era, we never talked to each other and said, hey, let's start skating again or whatever. But skating had come up a few times, so it was rumbling around in the brain. And so I made a decision, I'm going to do this, and my birthday's in July. So 2020, before then, ordered a complete skateboard, put it all together, a lot of the old components from back in the day. Started with a Ray Barbie deck and didn't skate it yet. I was waiting for the right opportunity because I wanted that first time to be something magical or whatever. And then Greg just randomly...
I called you.
Is that what it was?
I actually called you. We were working on a documentary film at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I think we had some footage of Rock City Skate Park.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was on our
footage,
minds.
yeah.
We were like, skateboarding was there. Yeah, we just skate back in the day. And then I called you randomly just because I was like hitting a wall. I needed something. I was going through a lot of stuff. I mean, and so I'm like, I got to get a skateboard again. It's just never left my brain.
Yeah.
And so I called you. I was like, dude, we're skateboarding again. And you said,
yeah. I said, well, I thought I just sent you a picture of it or something. I can't remember what I did, but
you might have.
You got a tighter memory on that. Anyways.
Funny you should ask me that. That's what you said.
Yeah. So, long story short, we got into it there, that July, August of 2020. And just after skating, here we are, older guys, pretty wobbly at first, trying to ollie again and do stuff, but going to these little parks and stuff. And we found out super quick, in the first 2 months, that first of all, when someone, we were late 40s at that time, start skating around, the kids that are in the park kind of who are these
old guys?
Old guys. What is this? Grandpa showed up today, But then you do a little trick. It didn't have to be great, but you did something. Maybe they're more a beginner and you did some kind of trick or whatever. All of a sudden they're like, whoa, and they want to talk to you, and then next thing you know, can you film me doing this? And for me, it felt like, I don't mean this to be insulting to anybody, but it felt like the kids were just like, hey, Dad, watch me do this.
Yeah.
And, maybe they didn't have a good father. Maybe they didn't have a father that, maybe they have a good father, but he's just not interested in what they're doing. I don't know. But it seemed like that was super, happening everywhere. And so he was experiencing the same thing. And we talked and we said, we got to do something with this that is a positive influence. We didn't know what it was going to be at first. I thought it was going to be
like a school,
a little school of some kind, teaching kids how to skate or something. That's not really the direction it went. But that's kind of, it wasn't ReAnimate yet for probably another 9 months or something, but the wheels were turning. What are we going to do with this? And because we do have, faith, and that is the core of who we are, it just made sense for us because we've done tons of different types of outreach and things over the years, using sports or music or whatever it is, faith related, and so it just made sense to.
And for me, this idea has been running in the background for the last 30 years or more, because when I was 17, I was a senior in high school, skating pretty hard, and I built a ramp, a really nice 6-foot mini, almost more than a mini, but built this ramp. Built in 12 sections, moved it out to a soccer field, had this big outreach event, and 40 skaters showed up, and we had a contest. And I think that's one of the first things I told you when I first met you. But it was great. It was awesome. And at that time, I was like, hey, I wonder if this is a thing where I can share my faith with people through skateboarding. This is back in the 80s. No one was doing this, and, coming up on 90. But so that was always running in the background. Through the years, I sat on a couple of boards for getting the skate park started. Nothing ever worked out. And then it was just okay, the dream is dead. The dream is gone. Until COVID hit and everything got shifted, upheaval and all that. And then when we started skating again, obviously all that kind of flooded back. So
I think what ReAnimate is today, after a few years, I mean, really just a couple years of, we weren't preaching to anyone or doing anything like that. It was just let's get into the skate community here in Rochester. Let's, get to know people and not be a threat or not be, people don't want to see a preacher come in their way. You know what I mean? And that was not our intent to be like that. And so we just wanted to build relationship and kind of started, never called it a club, but I guess you could call it that. We just really started collecting relationships on a WhatsApp group, and on that WhatsApp group it'd be like, hey, share your clips, if we're going to be skating somewhere, you can communicate on there, and it was kind of just that for like at least a year or something like that. But then we eventually developed more into wanting to do things outside of just skating, of having these deeper conversations about life and trying to be positive influence, help people with making the decisions of life, but also if people are open to it, we do talk, openly about our belief and our faith in Christ. And what we're doing here on Fridays is, the hour before our skate session, we do get pizza, and we do 10, 15-minute talk. It's usually a lot of metaphors, skateboarding or skate park metaphors. That,
we overdo it with the metaphors.
That tied to some faith element.
We don't apologize.
And just try to plant a seed in someone's mind to think about that. How does that apply to your life? How can you be a more positive person? And that's where we're at right now, I think.
Yeah. Early on, the first year that I was skating, I'll never forget being out at the Sweden skate park, and there was a biker out there, and I had already been talking with him, we're just talking about stuff. Nice guy. He was like, "Oh, it's cool that you're skating and everything." And he did this one trick, and he fell. He slammed really hard, and he hit his head really bad. And I checked it out, and it was like he had to go to the emergency room right away, and he was basically holding his head together. And so his family wasn't there. I drove him to the hospital. And I remember driving, just trying to keep him, because he was in and out a little bit, and trying to keep talking to him. And I just said, I said, "Hey, can I pray for you?" And this kid was like, "Please." He wasn't like someone of faith. He wasn't really about that. I already knew that just from our conversation. But he said, "Please pray for me." And so I did. And no matter what you believe, no matter what kind of faith you have, in a moment like that, when someone prays for you, something different happens in that moment. And even if it's just like, "Hey, I'm encouraging you," it did something for him. And before he walked into the hospital, he just said, "Thank you. I'll never forget this." And it was just like that for me. I think I told you about that. I probably called you or something, but it was like, we're doing something. There's something right about this, no matter what, So,
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
I wasn't intending on telling anyone this, actually. I prayed the other night. The first time I think in my life.
Okay.
Dude.
I don't know why. And I was just like, I'm stressed out, frankly. I've been working my ass off. I'm here till midnight many nights, and I was just like, man, I need everything, every resource I can get. And I'm like, there's one left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, and I always thought about praying in almost a metaphoric sense, in almost like mindfulness. If you reflect on the things you're thankful for, the things you want, you kind of reiterate your life view or whatever. So there is I think you can argue that praying objectively can be helpful. Mm-hmm. But I never actually did that,
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not supposed to be
yeah.
hey, I want things to work out for me.
Sure.
That doesn't sound right, But I was, just
Sure.
took a second to reflect on my life and what I have and what I I don't know.
Yeah.
Get emotional.
Sometimes that happens, but how did it affect you? Afterwards.
So far, nothing.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I get this a lot. I have a problem. Right now, I'm being my therapist. I don't process positive emotion well.
Yeah.
And I just start to cry. It was tough when I first opened the skate park. People just would say thank you to me. I just start crying all the time.
Yeah.
But that's just I don't know, my life sucked for a while, so I was just maybe just pushed all that away. So I'm just not
Sure.
I can handle negative emotion.
Sure.
Ask anyone I'm close with. Shit could be on fire around me. It could be terrible, and I'm just all right,
yeah.
I could eat that. It's fine. Should I keep grinding?
Yeah.
But like when things go good for me, maybe that's why I don't like birthdays and shit, because I can't handle the positive emotion of like people being nice to me.
It could be if I forgot what you said early on today in the podcast, but something about your childhood or rough time or something. I can't remember what you said, if you mentioned your father or something like that. But if when you've been through a lot of trauma or you've been through a lot of being mistreated, you either going to toughen up and rise above it, or you're going to be crushed by it,
Yeah.
And if you've had to be in fight mode for a lot of your life, then I can totally understand, that other side is, in a sense, like, letting your guard down. If you let your guard down, something bad could happen, that could be a lot of what we face, But, I mean, from our perspective, and again, I'm not preaching at you.
No, you can
it's a
preach all you
conversation,
want.
but from our perspective, praying is quite simply downloading what's heavy on you and what's on your heart.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, and it's cathartic. It's a release, and when you add the faith element that God really is listening, He really does care, even about what seems so, my problems. Like, we use this phrase in our house sometimes because we've been on a few missions trips to like very impoverished places, and you come back and you're like complaining because, hey, that waitress didn't give me enough ice in my drink or whatever. We call it first world problems. They're like, you could say, well, compared to some other people, that's nothing. But at the same time, if it bothers you, God cares about that, and for Greg and I, we pray for this place that it's successful. I don't, I wasn't planning on telling you that either, but we do. We love this place. You've been super good to us and allow us to come in and do our little thing. And, we don't want to see it fail. I don't know how much detail to talk about, but we are planning on helping with some ramp upgrades and surface upgrades and things like that, And so, this place, we've had some amazing times here, and we don't want to see you fail, and we want to see... Now that I got to meet your wife a few times and your baby and stuff, it makes it even more personal.
I do like this kind of new chapter of the skate park, having like the wife and baby here. I think it kind of embodies the vibe I always wanted more explicitly.
Yeah, that community.
Like the family vibe kind of deal.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I know that if it wasn't for this place being here, you were here at a moment in my life when I needed breakthrough. And I was going through a lot. And we've talked about some of the stuff that I was going through. If it wasn't for breaking free that first year,
even the name of this place.
Yeah, I was
speaks to us,
Dude, that's it. That's because that's what this was as a kid. Like when I got on that, whatever that space is, when you're just like riding, and I'm putting the context of when you're 15 and like every problem feels like the worst problem you've ever had, and you just go out and you're just skating a curb or whatever's there, and you're just like breaking free from that. Like this is what I'm trying to give people, among other things, but that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Now take this the right way, or any way you want to take it. But I saw Breaking Free. When you first opened, I saw the sign, and because I remember when it was RASP. But when Breaking Free opened, I assumed I got really excited. And this is like, I wasn't even skating back then. Like, I've been in Rochester for over 13 years. I wasn't skating when you first opened, but I got excited because I thought it was a ministry.
Oh, really?
Like, really, honestly, I've never told you that. I was like, oh, is there like a skate ministry? So for me, it just sent me back 30 years before, like, oh, I always wanted to do this thing. And it was like,
it would have been 25 years.
Whatever.
20 something.
Who's counting? 25 years before.
Yeah.
But
part of the reason this has worked is similar to what Aaron said in the last podcast, is like you're just not going to let it die.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot more purpose in doing this than other people. Like the value of this is far beyond me paying my bills. Although I should be able to pay my bills. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But like that community impact, that I get paid in that, and that's so much more valuable than money. Although I can't put that in my 401k. It's like thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, right.
No offense.
There's a checkbox for that somewhere.
Yeah. But I was going to say, like, your group.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in Rochester for a decade, and I don't know if I know there's a church out in like Parma that has ramps back in the day, and people, but I don't know anyone that really was involved in it. And there's always the people that rode there and knew of that were always like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And one guy there, it was weird. It was never like positive vibe. Like there was like something weird about it, right?
Okay.
I don't know. But most skate groups always have, not always, but often have like this hard line between who's in group and who's out group. And they're always, harsh isn't the word.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like I said, like the Jenkum thing.
Yeah.
Like they're not that inclusive.
Right. I can see
There's
that.
always like some element of like, not arrogance, but like, it's like, oh, this is our crew and we're cool. Mm-hmm. And you're not. Well, I'm not saying you're not, but like we're cool and you're not part of it. So,
Right.
So what your group has, if I could boil it down, it's like, it's humility.
Mm.
Like you guys aren't trying to be like, we're the best. You're like, no, we're
like the least cool.
Man, I
We
can't
came in the
even,
door
I
being
can't
like
even
the least
land
cool.
a kickflip these days.
and people got like, definitely like, there's people that say stuff to me, it's like, what's up with those guys? I'm like, I mean, they're doing it. That's what's up with those guys. Like they're here. Like they don't care what the person's riding or what their skill level is. Like, oh, they made this, whatever, I guess you gave, what's his name, a board or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're like, what is that? And like, you made a pro. And I'm like, what makes someone pro anyway? It's like they printed a deck and put his name on it. Like you could go online and order that right now.
Yeah.
It's like symbolic. Like why do you even care?
We talked so much about that. Like,
what are people gonna say?
This could be cheesy. This could be this.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're just like, you know what? We're just trying to encourage.
We're just trying
people.
to honor someone.
Just trying to
Who
honor and
cares?
encourage people.
Who
That's
cares?
all.
Just do it. Like it's like people are so caught up in the status quo of what they think skateboarding is and how it has to operate that when you come in without that, look at me, we're cool, we're just doing, like I said, with that humility, and people are like, oh, it's weird, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Like, why is it too friendly for you? You're like,
I don't know. I mean, the concept I have is just the idea of the open hand. You know, like God has been really good to us that we can skate at this age. Now, I know not everybody's got all their faculties together, but he's been good to us, and not that we don't have problems. We have the same struggles everybody else has, but we just have that idea of that open hand, and God can put things in there, and we're also willing for Him to take things out. And we just want to have that generosity of heart to people. And I mean, we talk about community, right? I mean, that's one of the big things about in your heart. And you can't build community if you're so exclusive all the time and you're drawing all these lines, unless you're trying to start a gang, and that's a thing too, but that's not what we're trying to do. So you have to be open to just people, Skating is, our heart and soul, but it's really secondary to our core beliefs of, Christ loves all, and, He's famous for hanging out with the people that were considered outcasts. He didn't, even though He was the most learned of all, He didn't hang out with those religious leaders, those Pharisees that, they were probably all genius level at that time, IQ and everything, but He was often found with people that were rejected, the subcultures, the other groups, and it's like,
I'm a carpenter.
Yeah, that's right.
Got the long hair, dude.
Right.
You're in good company, man.
Grow that beard a little more, and I think you got it. That's funny.
Yeah, it's really an amazing period of time right now, and we feel like there's been a shift too. And it really, because we were meeting at a coffee shop for quite a while, about a year, and when we asked if we can start meeting here and doing pizza and everything, there was a shift. There's a shift in the group, the kids, just an intensity, a closeness, like the community aspect of it. We were talking a lot about community for a long time, and it was there and it was real. But when we started meeting here, that community aspect just it just multiplied by 10.
Yeah.
You know, it really did. And that's when we were like, you know what, we have to be right there, right there in the thick of things. And so now there's guys that are up there eating pizza with us and hanging out. And
it's not like everyone's a Christian.
No.
That's in our group or hanging with us. You know, I don't know what every single person believes, but they know that we're encouraging, and you know, we want to be with each other and hang.
They know they
hang
just
with
need
each
to
other.
get their 5 minutes in to get that free pizza.
Could be. Could be.
I'm sure that exists.
Bro,
you know?
$5 off the free pizza. You just had to listen to him talk about some bullshit.
That's right.
No, I don't think anyone thinks that.
But we care about everybody, and it's very apparent that everyone is really starting to care about one another, you know. And even the other night, I was like, "You guys are like my family," you know. It's like it's really getting to that point. And new people are coming in all the time, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
I want to talk about an idea, but I'll get to it in a bit. It's called social capital, but we're still talking about your thing. Just putting a
Yeah. Sure.
earmark in there.
Sure.
One operational, functional thing. Are you your own legal entity? Is ReAnimate its own? What is it?
So currently, it's operating under my 501c3 as our church, Life Tree Fellowship.
Okay.
You know, so
So you're the fiduciary.
yeah,
I just like saying that word.
Yeah, and you know, like I think even our insurance extends. You know, if we were to do an event, you know, some parking lot, whatever, you know, there's a certain level of protection, you know, for events that we do and things like that. But yeah, there may come a day where we make it its own standalone entity. But
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm on the Friends of the Rock City Skate Park board, and for a long time we were in the same boat. We were just a project under another nonprofit.
Yeah,
that
sure.
was there. And then when we had to transition to doing our own stuff, it was like, oh man,
Yeah, sure.
you got bylaws now, dude?
Yeah. I've set up a few organizations, and so if you can keep it, you know, I've already got the one that's, you know, well-oiled machine. So, but if it gets a certain size, or I don't know what would trigger that shift and change, but you know, definitely could happen. I mean, it's not like we're selling much. I mean, we have a website. We've got, you know, some products we do through Printful and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not like it's going out, you know, gangbusters
Yeah.
or anything like that. So. We end up just using a lot of those products more just for giveaways and you know, sometimes even on a Friday everybody put your name. I got this little app called Pixter, you know, all right, you're this number, and we just hit the button and like, okay, you won. That kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
Giving away quite a bit at this point.
Is it fair to assume you want to continue to grow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think the biggest hurdle would be to your growth, or has been to get to where you are now, if anything?
A hurdle.
I feel like from the beginning, like we're both go-getters, you know, on things. You know, when you really got a vision, you want to just run after it. But with this, we felt like the slow burn was more the approach, partly because of the culture and of skaters in general, you know. And like I said, you know, we didn't want to be that preachy sort of thing, you know, because that's just really misunderstood when you come out of the gate at people like that.
What's your
you know?
ratio of skate club, Christian club? What's the rate? 80, 20, 90,
Like
10,
in
50,
our
50?
brain, like internally?
I'm saying like,
Or-
or for your organization, like if you're pitching it to someone, are you saying it's 50, it's half Christian, half skate club? What do you think the ratio is?
I mean, functionally, I think it's more like it's more like a 70-30. You know,
Okay.
it's skate and action sports. You know, it's like that's mostly what we talk about. That's mostly the, you know, when we're sharing stuff on our WhatsApp group, we're encouraging each other. We're celebrating the wins with one another like all the time.
Yeah.
And then you have those moments when it's natural to weave in a moment that makes more sense to talk about our faith, you know. And in those moments, no one goes, "Oh, that was weird." They just go, "Oh, this is a part of the whole deal."
Yeah,
You know,
everyone's respectful, and you know, I do a barbecue at my house every October because I'm one of those guys with a ramp in his garage.
Yeah.
So I
and
made
I'm
it
one
work.
of those jealous guys
I made
that
it work,
doesn't have a
but,
garage right now.
Yeah, I prefer I could have another 2 feet of flat, but it works. But just cook some burgers, and like 10, 15 guys come over. We've done it like 4 years now, I think, something like
every
that.
year.
But we don't even preach at that sort of thing. We'll just maybe pray over the food, but that's about it. We find that just being relational with people, opens better doors. And then when somebody's going through something or has an issue, they might come talk to you about it. And then we do offer to pray for people if they're going through something. Just kind of a low key. Do you want me to like you did with the guy, that cracked his head? And we've done that a lot of times, just when someone gets hurt, at the park or somewhere. But besides that, we're just trying to more live our best life with, integrity as best we can, and just be real.
So to answer the question, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but it's like what
I did ask for a number, but yeah.
Yeah. But what's the biggest obstacle or what stands in the way? I really think if anything could stand in the way, it's if we grow a lot too fast, we'll get the haters even more. You know what I mean? So that could be a detriment. Just looking at it from like a analytical standpoint, if we're going too far too fast, there's something not authentic about that, and we will get the haters even more. And it's like that could be an issue. And we're starting to see growth right now. So, and that's a good thing. So, but we're not talking about it and analyzing it. We're just kind of doing it. So
are you? I'll paint 3 routes, and you tell me which one of these makes the most sense. One side is so you're trying to find existing skateboarders and pull them in, maybe get them to have a little more faith. A third avenue.
Wait, was that the first avenue?
That'd be the first avenue.
Okay.
So say that one is like you're trying.
But you're jumping to the third. Then we're going to do the second.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. All right. The first, I'm like thinking in.
Is this a trick question? Okay.
The first avenue would be finding people that already skate and then trying to bring them into your orbit and maybe get them to practice.
Sure.
A little faith. The second one would be just trying to connect with people who already skate, who already are of faith, and being, we should do this together. Mm-hmm. The third avenue would be finding people that don't skate, but maybe do have faith, and pulling it in. I guess a fourth one could be that don't skate or have faith. But of those 3 lanes, are you trying to do all 3? Is it one or the other? Like, what lane? I
would say that all 3 are happening. They have happened.
I almost feel like you laid out the sequence of what has happened.
Yeah, you kind of did. We started with number 1.
Just meeting skaters. Okay. And don't know what they believe or anything, but you're just like, hey, when you're friends with people, you tell them what you think, and they tell you what they think.
And then like right about the time that we were like, man, it would be great if we had more young people that were believers that already skated. So that's number 2, right?
And also we started finding them.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it started happening. And then number 3, now that's starting to happen organically.
Yeah, like just last couple months, we total non-skaters, but knew about ReAnimate. Like one young guy, you know him, Chris, that I often bring with me. He just came over from Africa, like not even a year now. He's been, here in the U.S., and he's been hearing about ReAnimate, and he came up to me one day and said, hey, I want to do that thing you're doing. I'm like, wait, what? The skateboarding? And I was kind of blown away, a little bit, because I don't think he has any frame of reference for what it was. But, we got him a deck, and one of our guys donated trucks and wheels. We put it together, and he's been coming with us almost every Friday for a couple months now. He's dropping in, skating. He loves it, And,
now we've got some girls coming in that are brand new to skateboarding. That's Hannah's been coming.
You see, I work on our foot positions.
Oh my goodness, the
I was
foot
almost
position
gonna. I feel like it wasn't my place to jump in because it's your group, but I was almost to be like,
no, you would have reinforced what we're telling her.
I was like, let me, I was watching her. I'm like, it's just, like
you're gonna kill yourself.
Almost literally shooting yourself in the foot if you can't get those foot positions correct.
Yeah,
like it's the foundation of everything.
And the Mongo, pushing Mongo.
Oh God,
I'm like, stop.
Dude, no Mongo, bro.
Is there a Mongo equivalent in BMX?
I don't think so.
I don't know what it would
not
be.
Not to go too crazy, but in skateboarding you have regular and goofy.
Yeah.
Right?
We're goofy.
And then you could have Mongo.
Yeah.
In biking, there's actually 3 variables. So there's 3 versions of goofy. So typically, you would have your pegs on the side of a bike in which your front foot is on. So your back foot's not by the peg, right? And you would spin away from that.
Okay.
So the way you would air the quarter pipe is the same side you would grind the quarter pipe, and it would be your front foot side. Now, any one of those variables can be different, and it creates, it's like, you could be just like goofy pegs or goofy footed or like full on double goofy.
It must be so hard to like call a contest, like what the guy's doing. If you don't know what orientation's in his brain.
Yeah.
Not any harder than skating, man. Like skating, you got like, some people are so good it's hard to tell what's switch and stuff, right?
Yeah. These days it's like, can't even tell with skateboarding either. Really.
Yeah. So, and then certain tricks, there are certain tricks where a regular traditional rider would have to do an opposite 360 in order to do that particular trick because that's to go against your footing. But if you're goofy footed, it's like relatively easy.
Gotcha.
So there are certain people like, did you see that? Like, yeah, but he's goofy footed. Like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
So also here's the big one.
It's all invisible.
Think about a tail whip, right? If I'm right foot forward, you tail whip, and as the bike is coming around, your front pedal is coming towards you. And that's where your chain tension is. So if your foot gets it, it's going to like pedal the bike forward, or and it's going to pull your back foot up. Or if you're on the ground, you're just going to kind of, it'll push you to ride away.
Yeah.
If you are goofy footed, or if you happen to tail up the wrong way, the back pedal is coming towards you, and there isn't the tension of the drivetrain against the first foot that's going to get it. So it's just going to drop the pedal down.
Yeah.
So if you goofy whip or whip the wrong way, you like have to get it all the way around and get both feet on at the same time, or the cranks are going to go like this.
The wrong way. Yeah. That's crazy.
Mark just said he's goofy. He's super goofy.
Okay.
He is goofy. He's goofy footed.
Wait, there's goofy and super goofy?
He's double goofy.
Double goofy.
Well,
I knew that about him. I could tell.
Yeah, so bikes, it gets a
Double
little
goofy.
gets a little intricate
Sorry,
there.
Mark.
But bikes is very much like skateboarding has gotten now. The pros, the good guys, ride 4 pegs and they spin both ways so well that it's sometimes hard to tell.
Can't tell, yeah.
And there are certain tricks. Think about like you're getting to the bike shit now. Like if your bike is like a straight line, like your wheels in a straight line, but you're not. Your body weight isn't perpendicular. I'll show you for the camera. Your body weight isn't like perpendicular to the bike. Your hips are on an angle. So like depending on your footing, things get kind of funky, right? So there's a grind in bikes called a crooked grind, and it would be normally your back regular dominant side peg, but your front opposite side, so you're diagonal. So on a normal person, like your rail is down the middle, your bike is at like 1 o'clock, but then your pedals are at like 2 o'clock. So the way your hips are pitched, it's trying to push your bike off the grind. But if you do a switch crooked grind or your pedals the opposite, your hips are countering the rotation that the bike wants to push, which locks your bike into the grind.
Gotcha, yeah.
Similarly, when you're grinding on just the back peg, whether you're front foot or back foot, they respond totally different. So front foot ice pick, back peg is the ice pick grind, or 5-0. Like front foot ones are easier on rails, but back foot ones are easier on ledges, presuming you're equally good at them.
Well,
makes sense.
So,
nice lesson.
yeah. So, pull it back. Give me you each get your chance. Give me your pipe dream vision of your organization. Let's give it like a 5-year time horizon. You could paint this as pipe dreamy as you want, whether it's someone comes in and starts giving you a ton of money or you just have really strong, sustainable growth. You could each tell me where you think it goes. And maybe this is where you guys break up. What?
Good thought. Yeah.
He's like, strippers, blow. No. Whoa. Probably not. No.
Probably not.
Yeah. You want to go?
You can start.
That was a moment right there. You guys
think,
locked eyes. I cut that one out.
You got to put a sound effect there at least.
Like, are we about to break up right now?
And you're matching flannels too.
Yeah, right.
No, I know that's funny. I think we're going in the same direction. I mean, we talk about it a bunch. I think the ultimate goal is there's a larger movement in the U.S. called Skate Church. And I think growing to a place where it was more than just our little 15-minute talk, but we actually had a desire of people, and they wouldn't have to all be, skaters even necessarily, but kind of like the culture where there was a different experience than what people think of as Sunday morning church. I think in New York, most people think of a Catholic mindset, unless they go to a non-denominational or
Catholics
whatever.
are the serious ones, right?
I don't know how to answer that.
Aren't the Catholics the more like strict version, or is that Orthodox Catholic?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of liturgy and pomp and
It's
circumstance.
very traditional.
Is that the one they do confession, right? That's what
They
we're
do,
Catholics.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I digress.
So,
Which would be a somewhat of an, well, I wouldn't say an opposite, but you have the Protestant that actually protested the Catholic Church, and what came out of Protestant is
like during the Enlightenment era, 1500s especially, out of Germany first, and then other countries kind of jumped on. But anyways,
Is pushing Mongo a sin in Skate Church?
I think it might be.
Forgive me,
It might be
Father.
up on a wall.
I have sinned.
Yeah.
So Christianity is so broad and so wide. I think what that would look like for us is just very, if you get to know us, or if you were to ever, I don't know, visit our churches where we go to church or whatever and stuff, we're exactly the same way. We're all about relationship. We do very modern music, electric guitars, drums, all that sort of thing. I think Skate Church could look something like that. It'd be pretty edgy. It wouldn't feel religious, but it would be a place that people felt, safe and accepted and loved, from where they're coming from. And, the skateboarding would be the backdrop of all that, or the action sports, in a broader sense, would be the backdrop of all that. But because it's already uniting, in many ways, and I don't know if you want to speak deeper into that.
Yeah, a little bit. I would say we share the vision on that completely. The last time I was on, I was wearing a hat that said "Skate Church is not a crime." Yeah. Throwback to the old '80s. Skateboarding is not a crime. But the idea of we say skate church, like, okay, a building. You want to have a building. You want to have a skate park, and it's like, for me, it goes back to what is church and what are some of the core problems within the contemporary church, and even the church going back for 100 years. And the mindset has always been about a building, and it's like, well, we have to take care of the building. We have to raise money for the building fund. And I think that's where the church really had a lot of downfall through the years, and really got corrupted in a lot of ways, is because of buildings. So when I think of Skate Church, I don't think of a building first and all, and I know you don't either. I think of the hearts of people, and being at the skate parks and being with people. That's what Skate Church really is. So if I have a vision of anything, I actually got to go to this huge skate conference in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's called The Grind. And I went, and there was probably 100 skate churches represented. And there was maybe 2 out of the 100 ministries that had skate parks.
Yeah.
All the other 98 skate churches, they were at the skate parks.
Yeah.
So it's not about a building as much as it is about
Community
people
coming together.
Yeah. And so for me, I have a lot of vision for what it could be, but it's really about people. And then as needed, I think it will grow into, having that worship, having that a little bit more of a church look, but I almost shy away from a church look too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I know we're united, but it's like, the church has done a lot wrong. And that Grind conference really uncovered so many people that are trying to be countercultural and come up against that. So,
That's good.
Yeah.
When you say that the church, air quotes, has done a lot wrong, what do you mean by the church? And what are some examples of what they have done wrong?
Man, that's a huge topic.
Take a high fly over that one.
Yeah,
You don't gotta go crazy.
No,
But first, when you say the church, do you just mean organized churches in general?
in general, yeah, organized churches. We kind of say, the church with a capital C.
Yeah.
And as far as like what the church has done wrong, I mean that's a deep topic. But right now, there's just it almost seems like every other month there's some scandal that comes out. There's so many things that happen that drive people away from a saving knowledge of Jesus. And people that are searching for something real, they're being repelled by men. They're being repelled by a man that stands up and says one thing and does something else.
Okay.
Uses the position to manipulate, to abuse in some cases. I think almost every Christian I know has an example of some bad church experience.
So you're talking about generally a person at the head of the church, not like
Often.
the guy, like the Pope.
Uh-huh.
But you're saying
No,
like
no.
at the place I went to,
Right.
the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Leadership of some
Or
kind.
big organizations, or
do you think that's part and parcel of the church, or do you think that's just human nature, where power corrupts, and you get someone? It's almost
I
like
definitely
the absolute
think that's
power corrupts absolutely.
Definitely think that's a big piece of it. And then also when people come to, a ministry or something, there's kind of this unwritten rule, like, you are the holy people, so you need to treat us good in every way and do only things that are good for us. And that's kind of the right concept in one way, but you are dealing with, at the end of the day, even the holy guy up front is still a sinful person who is trying to change and transform as God helps, but if they aren't working on themselves, and if they're not being authentic, and sometimes there's a big thing, we talk about celebrity pastors. There are like ministries that have grown so huge in this modern era, the mega church, if you heard of it. I'm not like throwing every mega church under the bus or something, but there's been a lot of bad things happen because you got a guy who he's just a normal dude one day, and then all of a sudden in a few years he's like leading thousands and thousands of people and living in a mansion and all these things that just kind of really don't quite ring out the vibe that you get from Christ and the apostles and such, in the Bible. And so it's a hard thing to kind of discern, like, what's the right, wrong of all that. But if people are using any position of power, I mean, you could be working at the grocery store and your manager is, abusing all the people under him, whatever it is, that should never take place in the church, again, the air quote church. But it has, and it does, and that hurts people. And so then the biggest thing is, people are like, everybody's a hypocrite. Nobody's real, nobody's authentic. And so with ReAnimate, we're trying to do everything in our power we can, even though we're also flawed. We're trying to do everything we can to show people there is such thing as authenticity and genuineness. And if we mess up, we're going to say we're sorry. We're going to tell you, we blew it, but we're going to try to do our best to have all integrity and be honest. And when we say this, we're not going to lie to you, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the fall of so many organizations and churches, you can almost pinpoint when the fall started, and that's when a cult of personality begins. And when you see that cult of personality, it's like, okay, this person has made it about him or her or whatever it is. And you can trace that back to a moment usually. Like, oh, right there, he was doing good. It was about community. It was about people. It was about sharing a true nature of who God is. And then in that moment right there, things changed. And then sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 10 years, but it's almost invariably going to go downhill. Mm-hmm. So that's why, really, that's why this place is so attractive to us, because you're about community, and you're not about cult of personality. It's not about what Dave brings to the table. And it's like
Can you define that term? Cult of person. It's cult
of personality.
Cult of personality.
Yeah. So it's like when
the 80s song.
Yeah. when there's someone at the helm and there's someone that's in charge that is a magnetic personality, probably naturally, they're very charismatic. When they start to see things working, whatever it is, their ideas, their building projects, their merch, their whatever it is.
Their speaking ability, their charisma.
Yeah, it's
attraction
like they
is
see
them.
it working. They see their organization growing exponentially, and the moment they go, well, that's because I do things the way I do them. And at that moment, when they start to believe their own hype, then things will fundamentally take a turn for the worse, even if their organization becomes more and more successful over time.
People will be trampled upon.
Yeah.
Because they're running after, building. We use this phrase of building their own kingdom, rather than building God's kingdom. It's all self-serving. It builds their own pedestal. And next thing you know, I'm not making a joke here, but next thing you know, instead of quoting like the Bible, they have their own personal quotes that are on banners with their name under it, stuff like that. It's like celebrity just gone to the head, and...
Are you familiar with the dark triad?
The dark triad?
Not specifically.
It's like a 3 personality traits of the people you're describing. It's like narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Those are the type of people that often strive to be at the front of these types of organizations. Sure. And then, like I said, they have that, it's about me, and that they have that ability to use that position to manipulate.
I mean, in the worst form, it's cult leaders, right?
Yeah. Those are the dark triad, right?
But sadly, some...
Let me see, so the dark triad, oh, shoot. That's so funny. I have keyboard shortcuts to switch camera views, but then I tried to scroll the page and it switched to the GoPro that's not here. Narcissism is, egotism, lack of empathy, grandiosity. Yeah. It's about them. Machiavellianism is manipulativeness, indifference to morality, lack of empathy, calculated focus on self-interest, and psychopathy is the antisocial behavior, selfishness, callousness.
So you become really sociopathic in your expression and mindset, and you lose. I mean, the heart of Christianity is supposed to be compassion for people, care and empathy, but that's all the opposite of it, and that can happen to anyone if they don't have accountability in their life, if they don't have, keep their heart right.
I mentioned a while ago about the Grind conference in Michigan, and the one thing that I noticed, that they've been doing it for about 7-8 years, and these different skate churches, whoever's in leadership, and there's a few, in leadership, they will travel around the country to one another's skate church just to serve them, just to be like, dude, what do you need? You need decks, you need, what do you need? You need helmets. We'll bring a truck full of stuff for you. And everyone is just like serving one another. And when I was there, I couldn't see like who was at the helm of the Grind conference. And the guy that was at the helm was the guy that I thought was just like a hired hand. But he's the president of the whole thing, That's cool. And so for me, and they talk about it, they're like, we're a family. And you're not going to find a more real group of people than when you find these skaters. And there's bikers and there's other guys there too. Some bigger companies were represented, like JSAW and some organizations that are larger, but they just have the right heart, and they serve one another. And it's like, that's amazing. When you get a bunch of skaters together, doing ministry, and they love the Lord, they exude, not all of them all the time, but most of them, they exude what you would hope would be present in a Christian gathering like that, So
Yeah.
So we hope to contribute to that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
And we understand not everyone's going to like that or want to be about that, but hopefully we can still skate together and,
Yeah.
you know.
It's definitely fair to say organized religion is really not in favor in America,
Yeah.
although it seems like it might be shifting. But even if religiosity is coming back up, it doesn't seem like the organized churches are going to have what they had, generation and a half ago.
Sure.
And maybe that's their own fault, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. People are pulled a lot of different directions now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, people are religious one way or another.
Yeah.
And I think when people abdicate religion, that void gets filled with something in their lives. And all too often it's political affiliation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to sneeze, sorry.
Bless you, my son.
He's
No, I'm kidding.
turtling.
It went away,
into his
so.
shell.
I was going to ask you, would you know what the average church size in America is, or close, if you were to guess?
Like 5.5 inches.
That's good. Good.
Like,
How many people
by
go?
attendees?
By attendees, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of churches out there. You see them everywhere you go around.
Well, in this area, you definitely see giant ones. You used to have, whatever the old ones. But
Yeah, even when I drive out to drive through Penfield today, all the way get to the East Side Y, you pass like 3 or 4. And they're not small buildings by any stretch of the imagination. You're saying what the average attendance is
Yeah.
per
congregation.
event or whatever? Like,
Well, on a Sunday morning.
okay. Man, that's an interesting question. It could be really high or really low. And
Average
this
for
is
the
for the-
U.S.
Yeah, for the U.S.
My guess is it would be relatively low. Maybe. I don't know, 25 people.
Well, okay, all right. Aired on that side. It's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, about 60, 65?
To 100.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
You know what? I'm biased. I live in a city, which is probably, there's less people that probably go to church here than if you go into more middle America. So
Down south.
Or down
or-
south,
yeah.
especially.
I was now you say that, I'm literally thinking about Penfield, Webster, Rochester. I'm not thinking about other parts of the country.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just mentioned it just because
Yeah.
I think so much of the good that happens, it really happens within those. And there's so many that have 25 people going to the church or 50. So much of the good is happening in so many churches that they're not these huge mega churches. They're not, and nothing against the larger churches at all, because a lot of them are doing some really amazing things. But yeah, usually I think the humility sometimes accompanies the smaller churches. That's just me. But
Yeah, those mega churches seem like a scam. I don't know. It's just like anything at that scale with that level of grandiosity and everything, it just seems like it stinks from a mile away.
I think some of them do, some of them don't.
You think some
sometimes it
do,
does,
some do, some don't?
sometimes yeah.
How'd you feel about all the Zoom churches during COVID? You did that, right? You said
Yeah, we already had that going. We had basically streaming like you're doing already going a little bit, just for people that couldn't make it or whatever. And
God's okay with that?
I
Totally
don't,
okay with that.
I think he's okay with it. I don't think it's the ultimate best way to do it. I think at some point you gotta come. You should be together. Community works best when you're literally with people and talking and rubbing shoulders and stuff.
The Bible actually says, don't give up on meeting with one another. Don't give up on community, is what the Bible really says. Just don't get jaded by it. After a while, even if you have to take a break, come back together.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a great tool to reach more people with your message, but if people are just sitting at home and drinking their coffee and that's their idea of church, I think they're missing one of the key factors, which is the the community, the fellowship is the word we use.
I've been reading this book called The Death of Experience. I brought it up on the show a few times. I'm so busy I haven't really been able to finish it. But the whole premise is about embodied experiences. And I don't think you're going to get the positive community benefit of church if people are not being there in person in the same room as people. Yeah. Seeing those, those faces, shaking those hands, having those conversations is a big,
those conversations
big
key.
Part of it, which ties into the social capital thing I said I wanted to talk about, but I'm not going to go there. We don't have time. We're over 2 hours already.
Okay.
Oh gosh!
So
that went fast. Actually.
We don't each get our own hour, like 3 hours.
Do you think I've heard people make this criticism of the church, and I don't want to go too far. Like, we have you guys later on to talk about religion and church more specific, because we're just supposed to talk about your organization. But I've heard an argument that's something along the lines of churches have made a mistake. How do I phrase this right? In an effort to be more inclusive, in like a in the political modern sense of inclusivity, churches have lost something that was like
their values,
like unique or special or whatever. Like this is arguments I've heard. Do you think there's truth to that? Is there like a line to walk? Like, or can they be so inclusive that they're like abdicating the duty and responsibility of the practice of religion? What do you think?
Yeah, I would lean towards the second thing you said. At the end of the day, the truth that we stand on, when we say the truth, we have a book called the Bible, and we're all trying to interpret that and understand it. But a lot of things in the Bible are just so plain and just so clear that you don't have to have the heart to condemn people. You don't have to be about pointing out, everybody's sin or what's wrong. You can have that winning message, that Christ died for all of us and loves all of us, but at the same time holding fast to, allowing God to transform your heart and your life, so that you're not the same person you were, before you met him. And I think sometimes people want to get the cart before the horse, and they try to force people to live a certain lifestyle that they feel is their interpretation of what the most godly lifestyle is, when they haven't even taken the time to live in that, put themselves in that person's shoes, or show some act of compassion, or do something that connects with them relationally, to allow opportunities for that person to see, maybe what the Bible has to say about whatever it is, that they might be.
Yeah. It's like the kid that I drove to the hospital after I said goodbye to him, and he walked in. Imagine if he walked through the doors of the hospital and the nurses and the doctors were like, yeah, no, go out and
clean that up,
like heal your head up before you come in here. We don't want you here. And I think a lot of churches, they do that. They do that. They're like, no, we don't want your kind here. And it's like, well, if I was whole, if I wasn't hurting and broken, I wouldn't have a need to come through the doors. So we believe that everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome because everyone is broken in some way, especially if they don't have that knowledge of what Jesus did for them. And over time, those wounds are going to heal. And hopefully the church, if they're doing their job, if we're doing our job, we're helping the healing. Mm-hmm. We're helping that process, and we're doing our part. We're not all doctors or nurses or whatever, but we're not all pastors. There's teachers, there's evangelists, there's people that are doing different parts of the work, but it takes all of it. And we call that it's the body. It's the body of Christ is really what it is. So that's what we hope to do, and not misrepresent while we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question. as a pastor and a man of faith? Are there things that you're like, oof? Like when I tend to swear. Like when I swear, does that like you're like, oh man, that's really shouldn't, like that guy's not gonna like it, like are there things out there where you're like that like it's like you don't like it, obviously you can be respectful and not say anything, like what am I doing wrong here, like what are the things I need to look out for, right?
I get you. So from where I come from, when we first started doing this, I actually didn't want anyone to know I'm a pastor. Like the cat is so out of the bag right now.
Okay.
I never introduced myself that way. Okay. I didn't tell any people about that. I tell people my name. You can call me G-Town. I don't even my skate handle is G-Town.
Okay.
So.
Not G-Spot.
It's like Dogtown. No, not.
Again, much different.
It's like Dogtown minus the D-O.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah. Anyways. So, I didn't, because what happens is, as soon as people know, like, not even the pastor thing, you're a Christian, then either they're going to be super defensive, like, oh, sorry, like, whatever, how they're talking, whatever, and we just want people to be real, who they are,
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, even as a pastor, internally, I have all sorts of thoughts all the time that are unholy thoughts, things that are just like, if I was speaking out everything that came to my mind, people would be like, I'm never going to that guy's church. That's not even a church, So because of that, that's partly why I think we carry ourselves with humility, because we know that, we're just one or two decisions away from really blowing at things, if we don't.
You don't want to be around me when I hit my hand with a hammer.
We're human,
That's just the fact.
We're human. So everything in me, because I've been judged very hard. Like, I'll just give you a quick story. When I was a teenager, I went to a big church. I wouldn't call it a mega church, but it was a church of like 1,000 people. It's a pretty decent sized church.
Yeah.
I think mega, you got to be up at $5,000 or more. But went to a really big church. My parents, served in some leadership, and my girlfriend's parents were very involved also. Well, I got her pregnant. I was 15. Let's see. Yeah, I was 15. She was 14. I still can't believe the numbers. But by the time our child was born, I was 16. She was 15. And going through that experience in this very visible faith community, we experienced, church that size, we experienced the haters, and we experienced the authentic people that loved us in the midst of, that didn't put condemnation on us. Thankfully, the pastor and wife were the loving type.
Yeah.
But a lot of other people we respect and thought, they were gossiping hard about us, and just rejecting us and all kinds of things like that. So going through that experience shaped me. That's just one of a bunch of experiences I could bring up. But that really shaped me and my wife. Eventually I married her a couple years later after we finished school.
Are you
and
still
I got
married?
a good job. Yeah. We've been married it'll be 33 years in June. And so my daughter's 35. She just turned 35 like last week. And then I have a son also who's 30. He'll be 31 in a month, 2 months. So that's kind of my backstory, and I think that has shaped my wife and I so much that the vibe that we always want to give off is we are here with open arms, open hands to show you love, because we had people that showed us love when we were in a really tough place, when a lot of the community really wanted to just, hammer us, and the judgmental people will always be around you. Some people just can't seem to help themselves, but we don't want to be like that. It doesn't mean we don't have values, and we still believe that there's a right and wrong in life, but everybody's on that journey and in different places. And if we don't keep the open arms with people, then we could be the one that actually just turns them away, from Christ, because, we're the biggest jerk and judgmental and,
Yeah, you started with asking the question, is what am I doing wrong? What's the thing that I'm doing? And I just think, like, if you were out there at any given moment, just interacting with whoever's here and just being you, and if Jesus walked in the door Like if you can actually imagine that, I mean, he actually is here right now. I believe he sees what's going on. But if he bodily walked through the door and was a part of the conversation, there is nothing that you could say or do to make him love you less. Mm-hmm. It's just the bottom line.
Me personally, or people in general?
You personally.
Oh, okay.
And people.
And people in general.
I thought it was special.
No,
You are special. But really, if he was really right there, he would look at you straight in the eyes and just be like, dude, yeah, tell me more. You know, like, tell me more of what you think, what you feel, what you're going through. And if it takes whatever it is, if it takes 10 more expletives, if it takes whatever, he's just going to be like, it's not going to even, it doesn't phase him.
He won't even blush.
No. Okay. And we, like any of that, anything that comes to mind, for me, it's like if something comes to mind, I know that it's part of my screwed up childhood being raised in a fundamentalist church. So that's part of my backstory because I was messed up from a church environment, completely messed up. Dude, there's documentaries about how I was raised. And some of it's not my parents and everything, but the church I was a part of, some of it's sick. It's gross. And I don't want to have anything to do with some of that, you know, but that's not Jesus. That's not Jesus. So
You always got to go back to your source material, you know, and not, you know, vision, you know, creeps and changes as it goes on, you know, as other people trying to interpret whatever that is. But you got to go back to like the founder of whatever it is. Like this is what the core of this organization, or in this case, you know, of Christianity. It's got Christ in there, you know. We got to look at his words, how he operated, and that's constantly what we're trying to change in ourselves. We constantly find ourselves being selfish, you know, doing things, you know, with the wrong motivation. Then when you realize that, it's like, okay, I got to stop doing that, you know, get back on to being more like Christ. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, ReAnimate, as you said, they're here with open arms for you. If you want to join the club or however you want to define it, they're here Friday nights.
It's part of the
free
community.
Pizza.
Yeah.
If you're here with ReAnimate, you can get $5 off. I think depends how I feel on that day, and you know.
Well, you haven't let us down yet, so you know.
And like
it's currently Fridays, so
yeah.
Fridays 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you're right.
Not tomorrow.
You know, we talking about charity in the church and open arms, and there's that guy. I don't even know his name. He came in. He moved here. You know, things were tough, and he's like, he basically just asked, like, can I just, is there anything I can do to just ride? I don't have any money. And I was like, all right, fine, just ride.
Yeah.
That's it. All you do is ask. You know, just genuinely ask. And there's people like that all the time.
Yeah.
It's cool, not a problem.
That's awesome.
All you gotta do is ask. I've had unofficial policy with people in recovery. You know, if you have it in you to come look me in the eye and say, you know, I fucked up. Sorry, I messed up, and I just got out of whatever. And I'm like, cool, not a problem. You can come here as long as you're sober.
Yeah.
You're trying to get back on your feet. You're better here than out there. Don't hang out with the people you're hanging out with.
That's right.
Like, this is your place.
Yeah. Gotta break those cycles.
So,
breaking free.
I'm here with open arms.
Yeah.
ReAnimate's here with open arms.
We are.
What's your it's just at ReAnimate on the gram?
Yeah, ReAnimate 374. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the website is reanimateskate.com, skate, SK8.
And we have a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
All right. I'll link that in the YouTube description and the show notes when I get to that tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day.
Yeah, you're getting ready.
Fest, but
you're getting ready.
I should get that all done. Mark's still in the chat. He's been here for all 2 hours.
Thanks, Mark,
he said,
for being with
Jesus
us.
loves you where you're at. The Lord will point out the stuff you need to change along the way.
There you
It's
go.
awesome.
So
Good dude, man. Very
thank you
good
for
dude.
coming. I'm glad it worked.
Yeah.
We'll have you guys
Thanks for
on
having us again.
To
Cool.
maybe
Love
go down
it.
some of those wormholes, talk about maybe faith a little bit more and whatnot.
Sure.
We could talk about that social capital thing.
Yeah,
It's
that
an
sounds
idea
interesting.
I've been playing with. There's a book I need to read, but I don't have time to read anymore. But
Awesome.
that's
Cool.
very much what you guys and what I'm doing is we're trying to get the social capital back into our communities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. It was our pleasure.
You guys, you guys know all the deal. Just share this and like this, and I don't gotta say it because everyone already knows it. Grab us on Patreon. It really helps the skate park. It really helps the podcast. If you don't want to do monthly, there at the bottom of the Breaking Free Skate Park website, there is a one-time donation button that links on my PayPal. That actually goes directly to me. So if you want to buy me a coffee, feel free. So thanks for watching. Keep grinding.